Go over there, J-Rock. That's you. Okay.
All right, everybody. Welcome to TCH Live here in Dallas. This is Eric Van Loozen. I'm here with Zach Baker, and we have got cards in the air here. Welcome, everybody.
100?
Looks like we're starting off with a $100 anti-bomb pot.
This has been working out well.
Like to juice it up a little bit here. It's going to be 800 in the pot straight away.
Yeah, scooper.
9 ball.
Oh, scooper.
Maybe $900. Yep.
Always fun, right? Somebody starts off with a big win.
I probably got
Yep.
straight.
No.
I see Queen 7 so far.
Diamond.
9 of that.
Spades.
Pair the board.
Fuck.
Oh, they're just doing a flip.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got the
We
nuts.
had sign, right?
10 jacks and
Oh, baby.
I have a jack.
Let me see.
No.
Don't see spades yet, do you?
No, we didn't.
What?
No, not yet.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, so Benham has 8 high spades.
What do I need? A 10?
There it is,
What
Benham.
is that? 4
Is
side?
that seat 9?
4 side? 7.
Seat 9 there has spades.
Nada.
Yeah, you got a straight too. On the inside.
Wait,
Next time.
I have a
That's
flush.
fine. That's fine.
$800 profit straight away.
Straight out the
I don't like
box.
your lack of
You
faith.
got Ricky, one of the best dealers, dealing in the box there.
6.
On the headset.
Should be a fun night. Got a good cast here. People that you guys all probably recognize from these live streams.
Was it 5, 10, 25?
I 1025.
I believe so.
Are you familiar with all the faces up here, Zach? I'm looking to make sure. I
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
I recognize Safine, Benham, JD, Danny,
March.
J-Rock.
Hey,
Done.
I think by the time we get to our blind,
Sure
I'm already
about
on sack.
done.
So like, it's not gonna
Yeah.
matter.
Dunn plays a lot of 2-5.
Oh, yeah. I know him.
I've seen him on a couple streams recently.
Yep.
And JT.
That Brian looked at his hand with that ace jack.
Here's the first hand. Here we go. Hand number 2.
I kind of was watching, but I wasn't
Yeah, I'm sure I've
I
dealt
thought
or
he didn't
played
play.
every single player here.
Right.
But I
Bridge
know
mic
proof,
there.
so.
I played with a few of them, but
Camera-
I've been watching these guys for a while. Fun group to watch on Tuesday nights. They like to mix it up. So Safine promised some action tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Such a thing.
Wow.
If anybody can find a bluff in a spot where someone says, "Oh, you're never bluffing here,"
You guys want to play the Nick game?
probably Safine.
Probably Safine,
Yeah.
right?
Let's go.
Very much down.
You guys down? Everybody's down? Yeah. All right.
Welcome everybody again. Hope everybody's subscribed to the TCH Live channel, liking. I see you guys already in the comments.
Let's go.
Hope to engage with you guys tonight. Have a good time.
Dang, I'd be so tilted if I was you, Jay.
That Jedi Master Ted, he was in there last night when I was commentating.
Poker Monkey always in there.
Yep.
I don't know my cards were.
Great NBA bet for you. Actually, you can get 2 to 1 on the kid from San Antonio being rookie of the
Once I
year.
leave my hand, they leave
And number 3 already.
Whatever his name
We're
is.
cooking.
Saying once he gets hurt, it's
Again, this is 5-10 with a 25 straddle.
Benham's going to wake up with the Ace King of Hearts. Beautiful hand to start out with.
Safine's got a nice pair. He's going to pop it up a little bit.
Definitely like the 3-bet in late position. Mix of 3-betting and calling here. As you go up in stakes, people are going to be just 3-betting even more. It's nice to have some pairs in there.
You see the pocket 2s made the discipline fold there. Sometimes you like to set mine, but Ace King's going to bump it up again. So
You start with what? 4?
They did only start the hand with 200 big blinds deep here.
Oh, did you?
So he actually can fold to 4-bets here, but they're used to playing much deeper stacked. So as a default, he's still probably just calling with just about any pair.
let's see a flop here. Jack 10-3, 2 hearts. Nice flop for Benham here.
going back out there.
Yeah, gutter, 2 overs, nut flush draw. Can't ask for much more. Safine is in the lead, but not in terms of equity.
I think they have him in the cage now. Like,
See if
they
he
have
wants
it
to
close.
peel.
Yeah, I see him back there behind the window.
He's got about 40% pot.
He picks up a little equity with the draw now. Still in the lead.
Yeah, crazy how that one card takes him from being a dog to being a pretty solid favorite here. He can win the hand 2/3 of the time if he can continue. Benham is going to have some hands like aces, kings here, but he's also going to have a lot of king-queen suited, ace-king suited, ace-queen suited. Plenty of unpaired hands.
And they are playing the stand-up or the knit button game, so he did show the hand, so he gets to get rid of his knit button there. Y'all aren't familiar with the stand-up or knit button game. They all get the button, and whoever doesn't win a hand, or whoever's the last person to win a hand, has to pay. I'm sure they're probably doing $100 or
Yeah,
so.
not sure exactly what the penalty is so far, but it's probably pretty hefty. Probably 50 bucks or 100 bucks.
Right, and they end up paying all the other players $100, so it increases a little bit of action, that's for sure.
We'll start to see some people find some pretty creative plays to try and get rid of their net button.
I almost strapped on, called you out with sevens the whole way.
But they have to show the hand down. I have
Right.
seen sometimes where they go win and forget or decide not to show their
They
hand.
push it
Either
in
way.
face down, and
Yeah.
yeah, so they have to keep that button. Safine's going to wake up with another pair here.
It may be worth paying the penalty to not show your hand sometimes, depending on the exact situation. But generally, it's going to be hefty enough to where you're going to want to show it down.
And look, again, the nit button game creates some action. J-Rock's getting in there with a queen 3, and he outflops both guys.
Yep.
Safine getting it in good.
It may be the they were having this yesterday on the stream where the under the gun player, it's showing on the software as under the gun, but it's actually the straddle. So we'll just have to keep that in mind.
Okay.
May or may not be the case. Otherwise, the action might look a little weird. It'll show that somebody limped and then called, which is not particularly likely at these stakes.
Right. We just saw the 4 hit. That would have hit Dunn right in the face there. He would have hit a set of 4s. But
Yep.
he folded his hand.
He was 3 of 5.
Sometimes it's okay to continue with pocket under pairs, but you want to have the diamond in your hand on this texture,
Right.
so that you have a clean 2 outs instead of just 1.
Right.
You may be good already, but it's nice when you always hit your out. You pretty much know you're good.
Yeah.
So it's-
J-Rock was the straddle there, not the end of the gun. So that's, like you said, something that we'll pay attention to here. Makes a little bit more sense that he called the extra 50.
Yep, he's in for 25 already. He's a third blind.
Yeah, he plays.
We've had some good pots already. Chips are flying, so.
Yeah, been him up 2K already.
Some make some like good folds
Not
too.
necessarily heaps at these stakes, but still nice way to start for sure.
For sure. And sadly in poker, not everybody gets to win. So
Yep.
there's usually several of the people at the table that are going to be in pretty deep here. But another big hand. We've got some good hands starting off.
Ace Jack versus King Queen. A tale as old as time.
Right. See Mitchell in the chat, one of our regulars, tournament crusher. Hope you did all right out in Vegas, Mitch.
Nice flop for both players. Second pair, backdoor flush draw for Jay. Danny's got top pair, decent kicker. No one's really going anywhere here.
I'm not allowed to tank here. I'm used to like, okay, everybody tanks for up to 30 seconds.
Yeah, Danny's more of a tournament regular. Did very well in the, I believe it was the WPT main last year.
Right.
Or very early this year, I forget. Played on our Saturday live stream a few times. Probably seen him on the final table.
I've experienced the knockout by Danny in a tournament, so he's a good player.
Yep.
You gotta play quick. We're back in Texas.
Ace still in the lead here, but JT he's still feeling pretty decent with his queen. He
Right.
could definitely beat some hands here.
I think Danny was in check call mode there. Just
Yep.
Good give up.
He's happy to take the showdown, happy to call, small bet. Well played from both players.
have you been out to Vegas this year for the WSOP?
No, I
plans
haven't.
to? Yeah.
I've actually never been to Vegas.
Okay.
I've played a lot of poker in a lot of places, and I've just never bothered making the trip.
Right. It's a great time to be there, even if you're not playing in the series, because there's so much going on. There's people from all over the world. But I know there's a lot of folks that are in the chat that I've talked to in the room that are making some trips out there. So
Yep.
hopefully we'll hear some good stories of some TCH winnings out there.
I'll make it out there eventually, but I've always kind of figured you should play where games are good,
Right.
and good players are going to go to Vegas. So I'll just play, locally. Play in Kansas or Oklahoma or
Right.
Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana.
You had it on.
I've never found a bad game, so
Let's get it.
just never really felt like paying the travel expenses
You
personally.
talk shit at the tournaments.
Got somebody cheering for Danny. Bill there's cheering for Danny in the stream.
This is like, well,
You guys got friends in the stream. Let us know who you're rooting for tonight to be the big winner.
depends on the gravity of the situation.
And Safine goes ahead and just flops the world.
Not going to get much action here probably,
No.
but it's above average flop for
I had
sure.
a run in the Millie Maker, and
I certainly don't mind it. He just go ahead and bets it straight away.
God, how do you guys do it?
And the frustration sets in.
Like, truly. Like, how do you guys
It's
do
nice to lead out when you flop, because every now and
Yeah.
then, you know, people just don't believe you when you flop the world like that. But
Run better, kid.
Yeah, especially as you go up in stakes, people are just c-betting so much. You see a lot less trapping. It's
Right.
just they're betting their whole range of some of these spots. Like, oh, I've got a boat. I better get some value from all these random floats that people have. You'll see people float there like 7/8 suited,
High markup, and I was just like, eh.
and you're kind of looking at them like, did he just call with 8 high on a King 9/9 board?
yeah, and Safin takes an early hit and was hoping that was one that was going to get him back on track. But he will be involved in plenty of hands tonight. I promise you guys that. I've watched Safin before, played with him.
I mean, there's still time.
Very smart guy.
Yep.
If he just bricks everything,
All the brokest people.
Very pleasant to play with and talk with as well.
Absolutely.
Very humble guy.
bricks everything.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Like I've been in the lab.
I got this whole speech in my DMs, you know. Like, I'm for sure I'm gonna crush. I'm like, and I'm just like, okay.
JD opening up the ace-9 off from early position. It's a tad loose, but if anybody knows how to play ace-9 from early position, it's JD. He's very familiar with these kinds of spots.
JT looks like the only one who's flopped anything here.
Yeah, he's ahead for now, but 4 ways, your second pair not looking incredibly strong. JD's only got the 9. His ace is actually his ace is good because we'll have a better kicker. The 4 will be counterfeit.
Picked up an extra out there if he wants to hang around or keep betting. I imagine with the nit button he will.
Especially the king turn is just so much better for his range.
For sure, the open.
He's gonna put JT on some similar ace high hands as well as some 8-9, 9-10, Jack 8, Jack 9, Jack 10 kind of hands probably.
Takes it down, he's going to show the semi-bluff there and get rid of his nit button. So
Good start.
good start for him. If you guys aren't real familiar with some of these players, though, we've got lots of footage from the past streams, and JD is definitely one of the guys that's he kind of puts together this game, but really well known. He's had some pretty big battles and some really big wins on the stream. He tends to run pretty good, but he's a solid player as well, and fun to watch.
Yeah, we might have more stream hours of JD than any other player.
Than any other player, right? Yeah. The
Not 100% sure, but
battles of him and Kyle Z and some of those guys
yeah,
in the past.
from the very beginning, we
Yeah.
had those guys on.
Yeah. We've got 87 viewers so far. Hopefully we get that up. We're just starting out here. Hand number 8.
We'll be at 300, I think, by the end of the night. You know, us poker players, we don't like to be anywhere on time.
No,
It's overrated.
This is true. This is true.
When does late reg in? All right, I'll be there. Be there in 4 hours.
That's right.
No, I think everything's fine. But like, it's one of those scary emails where you get at 3 p.m. and they're like, hey, actually.
Both players got a little piece here. Been in with second pair, done
Double
flopping
gutter, yeah.
double gut shot.
And then like, my boss
Hoping to see that king come out. Get Venom 2 pair.
Call in for the 8 a.m. one, but like,
9 is even easier to get the action.
Right.
he knows he needs to
And
tell
there it
me.
is.
You should really like
Easy game.
be here by this
Easy
time.
game. Now let's see what the river brings, but right now we're going to have some action.
It's like probably standard like reorg stuff. We'll see. Corporate world.
And a lot of players here, especially at lower stakes, like to trap when they make the nuts here. But you have to remember, whenever you make a straight, you don't block your opponent from having any pairs or 2 pairs. So it's actually surprisingly easy to get value.
Right.
So if you're checking too much in this spot, it could cost you a lot of money.
This might help Venom get away because even King Queen beats him now. So pair of aces on the board with his king.
He's never said anything, so
It does remove some of the super strong value hands, so it's still a somewhat tough spot.
Once a year, I'll do it for you.
Depends on what he thinks Dunn is doing here. If Dunn is finding some bluffs with like pocket 3s or 4s,
Right.
something like that, or maybe some 9-10 suited, 9-10 suited or Queen 9 suited,
I don't know what's changing, but
something along those lines.
figure it out tomorrow.
Yeah, he doesn't love it.
This past couple weeks.
You can actually turn a hand like that into a bluff sometimes, blocking all the full houses. But you need to be a lot deeper, and you got to really know your opponents. So Benham opted this time to just let it go. Doesn't think Dunn's bluffing there and doesn't really love the spot, so we'll wait and find a better one.
And it would have to be a big bet to get him off that hand
Yeah.
for sure. So they're both playing, 5-6K deep. So
No, you're trying to get more folds from hands like King Queen or like Ace
Right.
5 suited. It's got trips, but no strong kicker, and hard to find bluffs there. So the weakest aces and the strongest
They just
kings.
like basically only hire young people,
Yeah.
And then just get like natural.
Benham is still our leader here. He's up at 1.3K almost. So
Yep. JT with Ace Queen suited. It's definitely had some playable hands so far.
here's another great one. Classic flip here to see what happens on the flop. Rich Mike's got a nice hand as well. So this is what we're hoping for tonight, guys. Some big starting hands. Let's see if the flops will. Well, here we go.
Yeah, this will do it.
This is what we asked for.
How you
No way,
doing, Mark? Welcome in.
What do you say, Mark? Mark, I got to get in your game here pretty soon, man. Every time I walk by your table out there's some good action. So
It's a fun game.
Yep.
Love doing it. Love playing if I get the chance. See, Bridge Mike kind of made this a more tough spot for JT and Benham when he cold calls the 175. You'll see that a lot here in Texas, where players just will elect to call 3-bet with no money invested. In traditional strategy, it's not considered a very good play, but it happens here in Texas so often that it can be kind of worth balancing your range with some cold calls.
Right.
It's a little bit simpler to just 4-bet or fold.
Great folds by the other guys with the ace-queen suited and ace-jack.
Yep.
Saving the run good for the man.
Benham figures his 10s is good often enough, and if it isn't, he's got several very clean outs.
I played like an hour total.
This is definitely one of those trickier flops, though. If your opponent has a bigger overpair, it's going to be very difficult to get away.
And ace-king's going to be firing.
Yep.
They were
This
just
is-
garbage games. Like on
You
the
4-bet.
days or whatever.
You've got outs, and you've got the range advantage, so why not?
Are you a go with your gut kind of guy? I tend to be too. Just don't think too long. Think long, think wrong.
Yeah, I tend to know my ranges well enough. This is going to lock it up for Benham, for sure. He's not really scared of much here.
Not at all.
It's a couple combos of ace-king suited, ace-queen suited that can turn some flush draws. That's about it. He's hoping his opponent has aces or kings here, and he's sucked out now.
He's going to check it over to him. Let's see what Benham decides to do now that he's spiked that set. Nice check back.
River boat. Only a beat by pocket eights now, which it is what it is. If that's the case, he's never going to be worried about it.
JD's a smart enough player. He kind of sniffs this out. Not going to continue to fire and represent an overpair.
Be interesting to see if he chooses a small or large sizing here.
2,500.
2,500.
Yeah.
Yep.
Big bet.
I would have opted for something similar as well. Polarize the range here. Put JT in some tough spots with the middle of his range. You don't want to give him any easy decisions, even if it does cost you some value. You don't ever, especially at these stakes, want your opponents to have easy decisions against you.
You mentioned the quad eights there. I've been at a table within the last 2 days here at the Las Colinas location and seen quads over quads twice.
Wow.
One was in the 8s and 9s. They both flopped sets, and it went runner, runner, 8-9. The other one, the guy flops quad 8s. 8, ace, 8. It goes runner, runner, ace, ace. He folds his quads.
Wow.
To a jam and a call behind him.
Well, yeah, there are 3 aces on the board.
Yeah, he was able to get away. He actually would have made money because the guy that jammed was bluffing, but it was wild. Just the frustration on his face because he had the guy dead to rights with aces full. That guy's calling him for his whole stack all day long. But
that's crazy.
It was wild. Haven't seen anybody fold quads until then, but you kind of have to there. Not great starting hands here, but let's see what happens on the flop.
I almost folded quads once, but almost doesn't count.
Right.
It was a limit game and just multi-way.
You got all black cards here in the holdings, but the flop's red. Got an open ender. JT in the lead here, pretty strong lead with a pair of kings. And of course, Safin is the one that fires out.
He can win 3% here.
Yeah. Part of the game is getting your
Somehow
opponents to fold,
backdoor,
right?
I'm
Yeah.
guessing backdoor trip 6s
He
or
does
7s.
Right.
is the outs.
Top pair decides to pop it up here to see where he's at. So let's see what AJ decides to do with his open ender.
He is going to be out of position, so it's going to be tricky to navigate. And with the flush draw on board, not all of his straight outs are very clean.
Exactly.
If he thinks JT's not raising very much, he's towards the top in terms of value range, then he can find a fold. If he thinks JT's raising relatively wide like he is here with a weak top pair, he doesn't necessarily have to hit his outs. He can just bluff him out of the pot at some point.
And again, we have a turn straight, Broadway. Easy game, right?
Yep. Yeah, strange how this doesn't seem to happen when I'm playing. Like, oh, I've got 26 outs somehow, which is more than anyone's ever had. And let's see. Oh, yep, break everything. Nice.
Nice river for JT. Easy to get away here.
Yeah. He can't call very much. You know, if for some reason AJ bets out 400, 500 bucks, he'll probably see it. That's about it.
Beggars can't be choosers, but that 9 would have been the optimal card there on the turn. But the ace is going to make it a little bit easier for JT to get away.
He's going to opt for a large sizing, it looks like.
That looked like about 2K?
Yep. You'll see a lot more polarization at higher stakes.
There it is.
Got rid of the knit button. So who do we have that still has the knit button? Is JT one of the players that still got his?
I'm not
Can't
sure.
see at the
Actually.
moment, but we're definitely getting some action so far. We've got some full houses and some Broadway straights already.
JT's got one, it looks like, and Bridge Mike.
Bridge Mike.
If I was in the hand, I wouldn't have any idea. It's a lot easier when you're...
Maybe one more player as well.
Yeah.
We'll see if those guys get involved to try to not lose that $900 if they're playing, or $800 if they're playing for 100. Bridge Mike just not waking up with many hands, and when he does, he gets re-raised. So.
Yep. Those sessions can be really frustrating sometimes. It's like, oh, look, finally something playable. Oh, and there's
3-bet, 4-bet
infinite action. Like, I guess I'll wait another 3 hours. You just gotta keep your composure. Dun's gonna flop top pair, and AJ's gonna flop bottom pair. Pretty innocuous flop, not gonna typically connect with most players' ranges very much,
Right.
so both players are feeling pretty decent.
As
Having
deep,
a piece of it.
deep as these guys are, you know, you'll often see bottom pair either put out a bet or float one.
Yep. Dun's gonna pick up a flush draw with the ace. It's a bit of a scare card, but he's got the initiative in the hand, so it's not gonna concern him too much.
Right.
Very innocuous 2 pair he's made now too. He's kind of hoping that AJ floated with an ace. Unfortunately, AJ's only got the pair of 5s.
And Jack 9 and obviously the King Jack are the only ones he could be worried about if he gets re-raised, but don't see AJ making that move here.
Both, and since it goes check on the turn, both those hands most of the time probably find a bet. So unless his opponent has ace-5 in particular, he's pretty much always has the best hand here.
Wow. Continue.
Dun's going to go ahead and show his hand. Unfortunately for him, there wasn't much that AJ could do there. It was just a bottom pair.
Happened before the...
Looks like we're breaking 100 viewers here. Nice little start, 25 minutes in. Already seen 12 hands. That's going to be about 30 hands an hour.
Pretty sure Dun's a veteran. I know you are as well. TCH here in Dallas and Las Colinas, they do offer some specials for guys that are veterans. So
veterans or first responders.
Veterans, first responders. Yeah, we love those folks here. They do a good job of supporting them. So if you guys are watching and haven't been to TCH, you guys are welcome, and you get some good specials for being here.
Not marking cards. They are shiny though.
I was talking to a guy the other day,
Seems to be a
and
thing. I don't want to be sued by
what was it, Las Colinas, or maybe it was Windstar, I don't remember. I was playing at both.
What are you using these
And
Playing the 250K.
found out we were both submarine guys. He was just in like 20 years before me.
I think that's his plan all along.
He was an officer, I was enlisted. I was like, wow, it's pretty random to just run into somebody at a poker table who
Right.
worked in nuclear power on a submarine.
Bridge Mike may get off the schneid here. He's flopped 2 pair.
I think that's the
See if he wants to play it aggressive. With potential draws out there.
JT's got the nut gutter,
Right.
and backdoor hearts at the queen.
I don't think I saw any jacks folded, so that could be an interesting turn card for sure. He's got to bet with the straight draw and the hearts out there. So
Small field 250K.
Interesting, he goes for a pot-sized bet here with the top 2. He recognizes it's just so draw-heavy that even though he's blocking a lot of the top and second pair continues, that he's still going to be able to get some action sometimes.
and look who ends up winning the nit game.
Yeah, he's also fine just just getting rid of his nit button.
And JT was going to have to call almost the same amount, almost $800. If he's the last one, you'll see him throwing out $100 chips here to all the players. Haven't yet. He's still holding on to it.
Oh, someone lost a net game? Oh my god.
Let's see what he pays everybody.
Wow.
You ran bad. You ran bad. We started one hand too late, Jay, and then you got
Oh, that's so true.
yes, you're good.
So everyone won one hand.
Yes.
You were in there for a few of them.
Might be paying it at the end or something.
Yeah,
Kept running
who
into
knows.
it.
Guess we'll play normal for a little
They may start it up again, but right now all those nit buttons are next to Ricky there in the box. So
Not for lack of trying. JT with a 50% VPIP so far. Played half the hands. Safine's going to open up King Jack. At the bottom of his opening range here, probably. Somewhere between King 10 and King Jack.
the suited wheel ace is always fun to play.
Sure enough.
JD's not just going to play it, he's going to raise with it and take it down.
Pretty standard 3-bet.
Dude, we turned a new page.
A lot of people make the mistake with calling with those kinds of hands.
New style.
JD 3-bet, snap fold. Snap. Nuts on.
We will not be shutting the stream down. We're going to keep going. We're going to get some more action here. We've got 119 viewers now. Get those likes in if you will. Subscribe if you haven't already. Come check out TCH in both Dallas and Las Colinas. These streams help really get this poker room on the map here in Dallas, and it's the place to play if you're in the DFW area.
I think on Tuesdays we normally get in the 200 to 300 range. Sometimes a little bit bigger when the game plays bigger.
Yeah, they don't know you yet. Let them get to know you.
We're on hand 14 here, so we're still getting started. Here's another good one.
Ace King of Hearts, beautiful hand.
See if JT can finally catch a hand. And he's run into it.
Venom.
Every poker player has experienced this situation right here. I've ace king of clubs twice in the last month for me, and I've run right into aces.
It's like, oh, I block the aces, I block the kings, and they have it anyways.
Hopefully we're flipping.
Yep.
And he does what a lot of people do. You shove with it.
Top it up.
Yeah, when you know the guy has aces, obviously it looks like a punt. But generally it's not a mistake to get ace king suited all in. That's just the way it goes.
Yep.
Oh my god. Joker.
Joker.
They ran it one time, and Venom is going to continue to be our big winner so far in this stream. That can change real quick with these stakes, but
Yep.
for now he's having a good night to start off. We're on hand 14, and
It's doubled up.
he's probably going to be up, what, 3 or 4K?
Black.
I think he's in for 5.
Yeah, you keeping 1,000? Keep 1,000.
Great start.
Yeah, so pull the right back, Jeff. Alright, that's 1,000? Yeah. No.
That was only short. Yeah.
Yeah, keep all of it.
Yeah, Venom's in for 4,000. So he's more than doubled up his stack so far.
Absolutely, that was a 2.5K win there for him. Nice to have your aces hold up, but that's a hand that you should hold up against. But I've seen it go the other way too.
Yep.
It's interesting. They let a lot of it slide. Hey, Ricky, I'm adding 3.
I don't know how the floor.
Looks like Safine's gonna add on.
Yeah.
They're usually all over the
Try and play a little bit deeper.
But it was only at Circa. Like, all the other locations were very strict. Like, Caesars practically threatened to kick us out pretty much.
There were a couple dealers that were okay.
JT's added back on for 2.5K, but
Uber to Circa just to play.
he can easily run that up. Get a couple double ups, some big hands. He'll be right back in it.
It looks like wow, he's playing really short stacked. He's playing 100 big blinds.
Right.
For all of history in poker, that was like a standard buy-in. But here in Texas, everybody plays so deep.
same principle.
You know, people, well, why is he playing short stack?
Basically,
100 big blinds is usually pretty, is plenty. Safine is putting on $50 straddle, and some other players are going to be doing it as well. So it's going to make him more of a 50 big blind effective stack, but it's still still plenty to do some work with.
JT for what he's doing, he's seeing really good playable hands you like to see in the cash games. He just needs to hit some flops and hold up.
Safine's going to get some action here. Complete out of the straddle with Jack 8 suited.
See some middling cards here. Give somebody something. There you go. Something for both.
Both players something.
High gal, if you can see all the cards. I had a couple of friends who played really, really high, and they got their friends at the table playing for like $20 a hand and seeing all the hands.
Straight draw for both players now. Safine's still in the lead, second pair.
He's got quite a bit of equity with that diamond draw as well. Yeah, just realized he's got that. So.
No, you can't. You're not supposed to see anything.
Yeah, he's not afraid of much here, except you know, a deuce of clubs on the river.
Yeah, but not all
Downgrade this hand a lot. Yeah, about the deuce of clubs.
Very safe.
So similar enough.
And JT gives up, which is, you know, smart play by him. A lot of players you see after losing a big pot, they just want to try to win everything to get that money back quick. This is a game of patience. You got to pick your spots, not let the big loss get to you. You go on tilt quick. You can be 3 or 4 buy-ins deep real quick.
It's easy to forget that poker's a game. It's about making better decisions than your opponent over thousands and tens of thousands of hands.
Right.
Like a cooler in one spot doesn't really matter that much as long as you make good decisions. Right. So if you can stay patient, stay disciplined, be focused, you're going to do all right.
It's really bad for the player, but they don't give you an option anymore.
There's no such thing as perpetually unlucky or lucky, as much as we'd like to think so, or as much as it might feel that way sometimes.
Yeah, freaking Danny had a royal flush in Pai Gal, like the first night we played.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Like 30
Nice
grand
ace
or
king for
something.
Dunn. He's going to pop it up. J-Rock's got the suited Jack 10. Definitely a fun hand to play if you don't have to call too big of a raise.
Do you take the Jack 10 suited here or the ace king off?
Man, I'm an ace king guy all the way. I know people hate that hand, but
Max convinced me to play one night of
Jack 10
craps,
suited
and
is just
I won pretty good.
so playable.
I
It
was
really
there for
is.
like 2 rolls, and that was all we needed.
9-8 off though is going to flop the best of it. It's pretty typical.
We played
and now Jack 10's got, you know, a good chunk of equity in this hand, so
so many nights. It was crazy.
ace king not looking so good against either opponent.
Yeah, $100 and ace kings out of there.
Very small amount. So I got like 9,000. You thought we were heads
Maybe
up?
not. Oh, yep. Yeah, 150
you checked.
did the trick.
Very suited of you, done.
I blame JD's big fucking bare hand.
9-8 does not want to hit 2 pair, and he doesn't.
Big gloves.
Big love.
Makes everything
Unless
else
J-Rock
look
decides to fire. AJ's got the best hand here. He's going to check it to him, though. Give him a chance to bluff at it.
And he is in position, so he's going to bluff a good amount.
Way to add that in at the end. Very
I
good.
understand now.
I don't see AJ letting this go. Yeah, he instant
It's a
calls.
perspective thing, you know, but
You're going to find a lot of calls with second pair, right? General.
What a superstar.
Man, just snap that off.
You're giving him a little hell for snapping it off, but it just, you know, those hands sometimes just don't make sense, you know.
I would have snap called.
Yeah, if he hit the queen, he hit the queen, you know.
Ah, get him, AJ, get him.
no bluff there.
Good hand there for AJ.
And then, you know, if he's value betting something like king 9 or ace 9, he might have had to think a little bit longer. He might have chosen the smaller sizing. You know, and if he does have one of those hands, just nice hand, here you go. Be a good value bet.
I've enjoyed watching AJ these last few weeks on the stream. He likes to mix it up, and he is not afraid to put chips in.
Yep.
He's a fun player to watch.
Benham with the 8s.
You have a pocket pair. I know Mitch, when he's in here, always talks about his pocket 10s that he loves so much. Do you have one of those middling
Oh, I love
pairs?
them all.
You
I look
love them
down,
all?
I peel a pocket pair. I'm like, oh boy,
Yeah.
let's go. You know, I definitely like some of the middle pairs a lot more that other people don't like. 8s, 9s, 10s, jacks.
Right.
You're just in more fun spots with them, I think. You're not quite as sure where you're at in the hand, and I think that makes the game more interesting. I like being in tough spots and putting people in tough spots.
Right. Absolutely.
So I like those a lot. But man, there's nothing quite like peeling 1/8, grabbing the other one and peeling the next one, and it's like, oh man,
Yep.
like I got both.
How do I get max value out of this? Yeah.
It's like, what did I hear? Someone's all in. Oh. let me see. What should I do?
I thought he was just messing around.
What do we win?
Benham's gonna go for a value bet here. Very nice value bet.
JD hits the second pair and he's got to pay him off.
Yep.
We do?
Yeah, having pocket 8s here when it pretty much checks all the way through. I mean, bet 100 on the turn. It's practically a check.
And JD beats all those ace queens, the bricks that that missed by hitting the second pair there. So
And it's not like Benham's afraid of the backdoor flush draw coming in when he's got the 8 of hearts in his hand. So a very clean value bet. Expects to get paid by some ace high hands even sometimes.
let's see if he continues to run good. I've been at tables, Zach. I know you've been at tables where it's just like that one seat.
Yep.
Just can't lose.
And it's not even like they're just getting dealt good cards necessarily. They just win with everything.
Right. And like we said, not everybody at the poker table is supposed to win.
Yeah.
But it's pretty wild when you see just that one seat just dominating, just running the table over. So we all want to have that run good, that one session where you just dominate like that. It's been a while for me since I've had a really nice one like that. But let's see if Benham can keep this up.
I've seen here that are always playing that.
You just have to keep in mind sometimes the sample size that you're seeing is not very large.
Right.
So for someone to get lucky 4 or 5 times in a row, statistically isn't that difficult.
Can JT run into it anymore tonight?
No, probably not.
He's got the beautiful king-queen suit. He loves seeing that. He opens it up, and boom, Benham with the 2 kings.
And everyone here is using pretty appropriate raise sizings, a bit on the smaller side, which is consistent with modern theory. That kind of forces your opponents to continue. If they make it too big, they can start to get away from some hands.
Right.
King queen suited is probably going to be in there no matter what. But if you're making it 7 times their bet, people are going to start folding against you and just get away. You're not going to get your value with your kings.
And he's going to float one, thinking maybe he'll get a backdoor draw here, or maybe his 2 overs are good, but he just does not realize how bad a shape he's in right now. And here he picks up equity. That's probably the best card he could see.
Good card to bluff with, too.
Good card to bluff
Benham's
with.
not liking the ace. He's probably still going to go for a value bet. He's going to try and get called by some draws and in some second pair type holdings.
Now this will be an interesting river because JD does have some opportunities to take this pot down. That's not one of them.
Fairly good card to go at a lead sometimes. He is going to have the most 9-7 here, which is the nut straight. Benham probably almost never has 9-7 here, but it's still just not gonna work. You can see Benham even went for 3 streets in the side board. He knows he has the best hand.
He shoves, right? He sensed a little weakness there, and he went with it.
Yeah.
He's not only getting cards, he's playing well. A lot of people shut down when that ace comes out. They get scared with the kings. It'll be interesting to see how JT reacts, though, because, again, there's one player that's dominating the table, and he's one of the guys that's, getting the brunt end of it. But I've seen those guys turn that around, too. So
yeah, someone will put their foot down at some point and make him show and see what he's working with.
Right.
JT's still holding up a 50% VPIP. He's trying to make something happen.
And he's getting hands, He's getting hands that you want to play.
He's just going to go for a limp call here with the 7s. He's not trying to get 3-bet and 4-bet again.
Right.
He's just like, please let me see the flop, get my set, get me paid one hand.
He's probably going to face a little open here from Danny. Yeah, Danny's going to open it up a little bit to 150.
Danny's going to bet a little bit larger with the limps in the field, trying to make sure he at least gets a heads up, charge him to see a
You
flop.
get sucked in, you know.
I don't know. It's a lot of poker, but I feel like if you like min cash, you might.
Pretty good flop for the sevens here. You're not too afraid of an 8.
Kill on that.
Kind of limits your opponent to mostly
Everyone
having
cashes
overpairs.
once, so, like,
Right.
You know, I cashed it.
There's only 6 combos of each overpair, but you have 16 combos of offsuit Broadway combos each. So
And
just to
he
conceptualize.
just calls the 100 there,
Last time I
Zach.
played was the Red Street
Allows
day
Danny
two.
to fire again.
And then day
Yep.
one, I got kind of FOMO. So
What
I
do you do here
registered,
for
like,
JT?
halfway through day one or whatever, played the evening.
I'm
You've been
probably
taking
calling. I'm probably calling all 3 streets, barring an ace river.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is a
Not
spot
quite
he
sure what type of player JT is
Right.
too
It's a
much,
Tournament,
but
so it's like still a tournament, you know.
given the effective stack sizes and relative ranges, sevens is strong enough here that you can call down and be good often enough.
in the emotions you go through. I mean, clearly he's had a rough night so far. He's going to make the incorrect laydown, but you know it's a safe laydown.
I actually might jam that turn.
I actually like the
I
schedule of
think
the,
I'm good here, and I want
tournament
to
players when
deny
they're
equity,
swing, right.
and
Cash
they're going to
river.
be getting such a good price. They're going to call me with worse, and you can actually get value. And if you're beat, I was probably going to call river bet anyway.
Right. And I mean, you have to put Danny on an overpair. To
Yeah,
make
if he
that
has
fold.
it, it's an overpair.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's going to be
Yeah, it's tough.
6 combos of about 5 hands. It's 45, and then he's got probably about 100 combos of offsuit Broadway type hands that he's just barreling. So some suited in there.
I mean, a lot of times
So it's just
they'll-
more often
they'll, like,
going to be
they'll
some
extend
trash in
call
there, I
breaks by
think.
20 or 30 minutes 'cause there's actually-
You just close your eyes and embrace the variance.
So, yeah, it's still
Bridge
involved
Mike,
very
another
long.
player just not getting a lot of playable hands.
Unfortunate. Unfortunate.
Nice king queen suited for AJ here. He's going to open it up to 125.
Use your goodwill in that.
Like 11 levels, hour levels.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but like,
the monster stack was like a 13 or 14 hour day one.
My cars just kept on top of each other.
Or millionaire maker.
Just like,
We're on hand number 20 here, and we've definitely already seen, like you see there, we've got a player that's up almost $7,000 in the first 21 hands. So
Yep.
some days off are just
seen some
like,
good action so
less
far.
early, you don't have any other events, whatever. Like,
Unfortunately, JT's bearing the brunt of the losses for the table. See if he can turn it around here. Just takes 1 or 2 good hands.
Yeah.
You double up with ace queen, get paid with top pair, and you're right back in there.
It's hard to get a cash game.
that's the problem. That's like why I like the games.
Bridge Mike with the ace king now.
He's been kind of quiet, so he may get the respect here and everybody lay down to him. Looks like that's probably what's going to
The
happen.
game sucks. So it's gonna be-
Takes down a pot.
Yep. It's surprising you didn't see the 10-9 off defend from the straddle.
Right.
Kings out like 3 times or something.
He might have raised a little too large.
I mostly just did it for the free.
While Ricky's shuffling here, throw out a couple things here. We've got a big tournament coming up this weekend, guys. The Independence Day 200,000 guaranteed. 8 different flights starting June 29th. So everybody come on out and play in this tournament. Get a chance at a big win here.
It's going to be a $250 entry fee for each flight, 200,000 up top. So first place will look something like $30,000 to $50,000 depending on how we do with our entries.
Right. We tend to blow those out of the water, so it could be
Yep.
300,000 or 400,000 by the time it's all said and done. These are fun tournaments to play.
And they're actually going to have the day 2 on Monday, which
Right.
I don't think we've seen so far when we ran our tournaments, which is kind of interesting.
He's like, I've been a pro for
And
10
day 2 is
years,
going to be
dude.
40-minute levels, so
Yeah.
it's going to be a little bit longer.
Thank you.
Let you play a little bit more, so that's pretty exciting. Really good structure in these tournaments, and they run them very well here at TCH.
I think he was making fun of you.
Trips for AJ. He's not loving his kicker, but
Sure.
one of your better flops with ace 6 suited, that's for sure.
he said I've been a pro for whatever.
That's what he said, yeah.
It would never mess with Danny Mark. He's the best folder in all things.
Gonna check all the way.
He could get paid a little bit here with
River in second pair, checking every street. JR has to think that he's good here sometimes.
What are you charging on it?
might think he missed a spade draw.
And AJ's gonna go large. 350. About three quarters pot. He's gonna just get snapped
Snapped
all
off.
Yep.
And he's got the big hand.
He could even gone larger.
Right.
Like when you check all the streets and you're just gonna put in a river bet to try and take it down, your opponents just have to look you up, like quite often. So you can really polarize. You could bet 500-600 there and probably still get called by a jack. does suck if they somehow run into backdoor diamonds and set the trap for you, but
Right.
that's just part of it. You're gonna check all 3 streets or check 2 streets with trips. That river's gonna be the only street where there's play on, so you're just gonna have to embrace it a little bit. If they somehow got you.
Nah, I'm not gonna play that.
I don't know how the guys in the chat feel about playing those ace-6s, ace-7s, ace-8s. I know when they're suited, it kind of makes you get a little excited, but there's nothing worse than peeling that ace and looking at, for me, an offsuit 6. You know, it's just it's the worst ace in the deck.
Yeah, ace-6 off is the worst ace hand you can play.
Yep.
Which sounds kind of, obviously like ace-2 off is worse, but you wouldn't play that anyways.
No.
The suit adds a lot to the hand. It's technically only 3% equity, but in terms of playability, it's like 100 times easier to play.
Absolutely. And those lower stakes, I mean, people play those ace-6s, ace-7s, out of position.
Yeah. Definitely want to avoid loading up pots with your very marginal ace hands. What's going on, Sassy? Good to see you here.
They're running interesting satellites.
She's got the sloth icon. How you doing, Sassy?
Where's the hammer at?
You're done.
Is he gonna be joining us today?
Pull your chips out of play, yeah. And then you
Both players now have an open ender. Actually, all 3 guys.
it'll take
Open
away from
enders.
tanking at the end.
Everybody basically has the same hand.
And I'm sure it's a more interesting
At this point,
endgame.
whoever bets takes it pretty much.
Players that are short.
Or just J-Rock wins at Showdown.
Probably a
Yeah.
check down, unless AJ really.
He has enough
to rep
Showdown
that
value.
ace.
He doesn't need to turn his hand into a bluff. He's just gonna just take it and see.
Like at the very end, if you're like the biggest of the last players left. I don't really know.
It's always kind of tricky to evaluate how much Showdown value you have versus how much blocking effect do you have to your opponent's strong hands.
You guys gotta play up to get 10 million, you know?
And is it a good spot to bluff or just take the Showdown? That's one of the trickier spots to play.
I don't really know. I haven't done it.
What's for dinner, Sassy?
See him playing heads up. One guy's got like 8 million, other
Yeah,
guy's
I
got
don't,
2
I don't
million.
think
You're
that's
like,
how it
I
works.
had to smell my co-commentator's Taco Bell that came in, so
this is a
Gourmet.
multi-
Taco
gourmet
Bell, of
Mexican
course.
food.
Only
Yep.
16 million chips to play, so, you know.
I've got a banana. I'm gonna have to have something of substance later, but
I've been doing, to a small extent, intermittent fasting lately. I want to eat what I want to eat, but I do want to drop a couple pounds, so I've been just like eating less. So I make it to like 6 p.m. and I've had like a piece of fruit, and then it's like, oh my gosh, I gotta eat something.
God bless you. That Whataburger Rewards program has been ruining me. I've had some people asking, "Oh man, are you working out a lot to get bigger?" I'm like, "Man, I'm just putting fat on top of whatever I had, man."
Thanks for noticing. I am bulking.
I am bulking. Just it's the wrong bulk.
Protect me from myself.
Blackened shrimp, rice, and roasted veggies.
Sounds
Man.
good. Must be nice.
No, I just play. I think it's still correct to just try to play as good poker as you can.
I went by my mom's house yesterday
Oh yeah, I mean,
just to say hi. And next thing I know, I'm digging in her fridge looking for something, and it's like 3 crates of spaghetti in there. And I'm just like, that'll do it. In my fridge, I've got some ketchup and pickles about, and that's I've got about 60% of a burger in there, but nothing substantial.
My mom's got a great husband who's really helped get both of their health. They're both in their mid-70s, and so when I go over there, there's nothing but salads, and sometimes there'll be some chicken or something that I can snack on.
I
But
can't even,
nothing, none of the trash that I like to
I
snack
can't even
on.
eat a salad hardly.
Yeah.
It actually kind of pisses me off when I'm ordering food at a restaurant and they're like, "Would you like what kind of dressing would you like with your salad?" And it's like, "I'd like you to leave it in the kitchen, please, please and thank you."
Give me an extra slab of meat.
And if you could lower the price on your menu to not charge me for this, this random garden rabbit food, that'd be great.
And you feel healthy when you eat a salad, but then you douse it with ranch dressing or something, and you just realize that you're just going to be a fatty anyway. So just go with the bread.
AJ's got the mystery hand here.
Rich Mike opening up his game. I like seeing this. No pair, no draw. Just saying, I want to take this pot down. AJ's got the mystery hand. Looks interested. He lets it go.
Maybe like Jack 3, 1 spade, or Jack 8 or something like that, where he's trying to decide if he wants to get frisky.
They need to make it a little more
Not gonna out frisky Bridge Mike here though with the 9-4 clubs.
Bridge Mike's been around the poker table a time or two. You notice he no intentions of showing his bluff. He doesn't need the pride to show off a small bluff. You know, like you see at some of the lower streets that they'll bluff at you with an $8 pot. Man, they can't wait to turn over that 7-4 offsuit they got you with.
Yep.
When you win the tournament,
You say congrats on your $8 pot and you move on. But
You do what's better for the.
Are they playing? Oh, I guess we're not playing the 7 deuce game.
no 7 deuce game. JT's getting some more firepower.
Sixes for J-Rock.
Until he bigs one.
Like I said, I see pocket pair, I start to get excited. I see pocket sixes, I'm like, ooh.
It's almost like you can will it sometimes to hit for you, right?
Yeah. And then, you know, say it's a 7 on the board instead. It's like close enough. I could have had 7s here. let's pretend I made a set.
Early position, do you like to open with them, or do you just like the limp call?
Generally, I go for an open.
Okay.
If I'm playing at a table where no one is 3-betting me, but they are calling a lot of raises, I'll just limp them because I don't need to waste $15, $20 trying to flop the set.
This is a nice flop here.
Oh yeah, this is
First time Benham's run into a better hand really tonight. So he's got top pair, top kicker, backdoor diamonds.
Yep.
And just like you said, J-Rock's licking his chops right here. That's exactly what he wanted.
Just the call here. He recognizes that Benham's just going to be barreling at a pretty high frequency, and he's gonna let him hang himself a little bit.
Shouldn't be a scare card here. You know, 10-7, not a frequent hand that 3-bets you. He's going to jam.
He just jammed right into him.
And if you've watched J-Rock before, he's another player who's not afraid to put his chips in. So this is probably kind of raising some hairs here with Brenham.
Just a 2x pot bet here, I think.
He didn't re-raise him. Benham was the one who 3-bet him. So let's.
This is actually like a surprisingly easy spot to balance if you're interested in doing that, having some massive turn leads here. Just like having 1-7 in your hand, it's just like, hey, I know your range isn't that strong, and let's put you to the test right here and now, and that's it. Like you could literally have a hand like 6-7 and just put even if they are at the top of their range, they have kings. It's like they hate their life. So and you have so much equity.
Yeah, that 7 would be a good card to have because you're putting this hand right here that the pair of 8s at a very uncomfortable situation. He's got him covered.
It's actually probably better to have if you're going to call and look up some bluffs here, it's actually probably better to do it with your ace-8 or ace-9 or 10-8 kind of hands because you block a lot of the value ranges that could have it, some 2 pairs and some sets. When you have your overpair, overall you have a stronger hand in terms of where you're at in your range, but you're not blocking anything.
If you heard Benham say to J-Rock, he said, show your Jack 10. He still thought he was bluffing, but he's like, I can't make that call, you know?
Yeah.
Which is discipline. He's still up 6K. You know, that would have been a big hit had he made that call. Made the right fold.
And in my experience, especially at lower stakes, I find that the overbets are a bit value heavy. It is player dependent. But I find that they're trying to make their hand look like a bluff.
Right.
But they would never actually bluff with that sizing.
In your poker playing career, have you seen that more? I feel like after watching some of these live streams, you know, the Garrett Adelsteins, the people of the world that, you know, play in these bigger stakes games, you really start seeing that
big
polarizing overbet at the end.
Definitely more common nowadays. You've always sort of seen it in the low SPR pots. You know, when you're 200 effective, somebody your 3-bet pot, they've got, you know, 150 behind, there's 100 in the middle, they rip it.
Rip it, yeah.
But when you start to play deeper, it used to be no one really incorporated overbets. And nowadays, people are finding overbets on the flop, the turn, and the river. We got good players.
This is a nice hand. Big turn here for JT. He's finally getting a nice hand. And Danny does have a diamond in his hand. So, third pair here. He lets it go. Yeah. And JT's
kicking himself.
He wins $215 and just he wants to win that big one.
You know, at least $1,000 pot, you know.
Right. And again, we're hand 27. He's got plenty of time to turn this around. They play for several hours. I played in a 1-2 session last night in Las Colinas, and I waited 5 hours and finally hit a huge hand that tripled me up, and it was like, all right, it's time to go to bed now, you know. But it was just a slow night, you know. I won a couple small pots, got up, got down, you know, and then finally you just win that big one, and sometimes that's all you need, you know.
Yeah, I played over there yesterday for a little over an hour.
Yeah,
Literally, the only thing that I wanted was the shrimp. Man, they make good shrimp
Shrimp
over
is
there.
good.
Honey, it's like a honey glazed fried coconut shrimp or something. I don't even know, but man, it is so good. So I went over there to get shrimp and sat down to play, and sure enough, I was in for $600 in about 40 minutes.
Well, they've got the grilled shrimp too that you can get on top of some of their
salads
dishes.
and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, they got good food there. Venom's got the king 9 suited. Tricky hand to play, but definitely playable. It's just very standard open from the cutoff.
Turn the Nick game back on.
Yeah, I went over there. I was in for like $600 while I was eating my shrimp. Like, man, this shrimp might cost me a lot.
Right.
I finally won like 2 hands and made about $100.
Right.
And went and got my hair cut. That was all I did for the day, really. Drove over there, got some shrimp, got my hair cut, made $100. Good day.
That Southwest Rice Bowl, yeah. I forgot the name of the other bowl, Sassy. There's another bowl that they have that's really good, and I've had chicken and shrimp in it. It's not the Southwest, but they do have some good food over there, and I imagine they'll be changing their menu up over time and adding some more dishes as that place continues to grow.
Yep.
The cooks do a really good job, though, and they get the food out relatively quick, too.
Yep.
Pizzas are really good.
I need to try those. I still haven't had that one yet.
I will tell you, those pizzas come out hot, so if you
real hot.
Be prepared to let it cool down, otherwise you'll burn the roof of your mouth.
It was very lucky.
But really good ingredients.
Ace-8 suited versus Queen 5 suited here. Both players have a piece. Done with the bottom end of the open ender with the backdoor hearts and an overcard. J-Rock top. I'd like to see a raise here from Dunn.
If you're going to play this hand further, put pressure on your opponent. I like it.
Put the foot on the gas here.
He just sells all of himself.
You do have a lot of equity you can realize, but why realize your equity when you can just win the pot outright?
There you are.
You want your opponent to force you to realize your equity. Better to just win it.
Sassy, I'm with you. I'm with you 100% on the breakfast sandwiches or burritos.
I'd like to see a smoothie bar. And I mentioned it, but I don't know how practical it is to implement or what the food regulation is around it. But I'd pay $5-6 just
for a smoothie. Absolutely.
Frozen strawberries and bananas. Like it's literally all you need. Throw it in a blender with some milk.
And that's not a good card for what Dunn was going for there, but now it gives him a little more equity with the hearts.
Yeah.
Straight is really not what he's going for anymore, but he might rep it.
I think Dunn, I think this was a double straddle. Yeah, he straddled a 50. So he has the most 9x here. J-Rock, with the early position open, is really only going to have 8-9 suited, pocket 9s, maybe ace-9 suited or 9-10 suited. 9-10 suited would have flopped the straight anyways, so if he's beat. And once the 10 comes here, it reduces the likelihood of that. So once he picks up the heart, him having most of the 9x in his range, it's still a very good card to barrel, even though it doesn't help his exact hand. And he doesn't need to go huge here. The board itself is polarized, so he doesn't need to polarize his bet necessarily.
As much as live tells are a tough part of the game, I think this is a situation where Dunn knows that J-Rock was a little uncomfortable after that flop just call, and he felt comfortable putting in another bet and takes it down. So again, you don't have to have the best hand in poker to win. That's one of the biggest parts of the game. You just have to have equity and the stones to put some chips in, and you take down a nice pot there. Dunn's now up 2.2K, so he's having a good night so far.
You'll see that mistake a lot where they'll be bluffing and they'll pick up enough equity where it's like, well, I'll just take a free card,
Right.
I'll see if I can try and hit my
I'm going
hand.
to slow down because I have equity.
It gets a lot harder to bluff that river when they're like, well, we slowed down on the turn. Like, can he really be that strong?
Yeah.
And suddenly you feel really silly when you see a hand that's second pair winning at showdown. It's like, man, if I would have just bluffed the turn, I could have just won the pot outright.
Big large.
Safine licking his chops, looking down at the suited Broadway.
Dunn, another big hand for Dunn. He's got pocket jacks here. Everybody says there's no right way to play jacks. Let's see what he does here. Looks like he's going to pop it. Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we've been waiting for.
Easy game.
We've got an ace-10, we've got a suited Broadway cards, and then we've got jacks and aces.
Open 3-bet from the straddle. Let's see if he goes for a cold call, or he's going to 4-bet from the next straddle. This just looks so strong. Safine's just going to snap fold.
He actually went all in for 3.5K. And Dunn's thinking, would somebody with aces really do this, right?
Yeah.
Tough spot to be in, you know.
It definitely looks a lot more like a hand like ace-king, ace-queen, ace-5 suited, king-queen suited. That's just like, just ripping here.
Fun's going on down there.
Alright, we're just watching over here.
And I think, given the $50 straddle, you really just don't have a choice with the jacks. If you're folding, it's a massive exploit. It's 50 big blind shove, you have jacks, you just have to call.
Dunn makes the call. Like I said, he was up 2.2. You know, he's like, you know what, I'm up.
Yep.
I think I'm good here.
You have to know a lot about your opponent, especially at these stakes, to be folding jacks. I'd say generally it's a mistake.
Dunn had that oopsie face.
The $50 straddle, 60 big blinds, but still.
There was one ace gone, and boom, there's an ace. There's a sweat.
Oh, 4 outs.
Aces full.
Oh, hey, never mind.
Big hand for J-Rock there. Yeah. That's the fireworks we've been waiting for. You get the two big pairs. Hard to lay those jacks down. You got your opponent covered.
I had an ace.
Nice
I had a
hand.
10.
I had ace 10.
Oh, did you? I had king 10.
Ace 10 would have flopped the two pairs, so that would have been deadly had there not been a jam there.
Oh, yeah.
And that was JD, I think, with the ace 10, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
One of our aggressive players. That hand could have gotten spicy real quick, but we got the money in pre-flop, all in, and you know the cards play themselves.
Yeah, I would have jammed also with his stack. You kind of hate it when everybody just snap folds, but you still win about over $1,000.
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
uncontested, and it's just too hard to try and construct a range with a cold call out of position to everybody. Kind of just rip it in and just hope you get called.
Yeah, you don't want to be cute against three other opponents with aces.
Some people, I hear this all the time when I'm dealing, especially like, oh, I was just trying to get more players in. In general, that's like the exact wrong thought you can have.
Yeah.
It's your equity only goes down when players are in the pot. So unless you're ready to embrace a ton of variance, even with aces, I still like to go heads up.
And post-flop, if you flop an ace, probably you're not going to get paid, you know.
Yep.
Everybody's it's a scare card for everybody else who doesn't have one. So
I'm never trying to go more than 3 ways.
no.
3 ways is the most.
Well, if you saw there, the chip lead switched there. J-Rock's now second
Yep.
with just that one hand. So sometimes that's all it takes.
AJ's got the 3s here.
So you got him today?
Yesterday morning.
Yesterday.
Just gonna win some free money right there.
$90. You know, you just
Have you
win
ever
some
had them before?
quick, easy $90.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I heard them say they were going to put the knit game back on, but I don't see it on yet. So no, Ricky's still got the button, so they may put that game on again and here in a minute.
And $90 in about 30 seconds. That's a whole steak dinner right there.
Right. I'm kind of team underdog over here, Zach. I'm rooting for JT to go from.
I'd like to see him come back 2,000 or 3,000 at
Right.
least.
Make this game fun for him. You know, again, not everybody wins at the poker table. It's not possible, but you know, you hate to see one guy.
This is how you know you're running good, is whenever you're at the top of the win to showdown list and still the big winner. Like,
right?
Typically, the best players don't need to go to showdown very much. They know exactly where they're at in the hand, so they're either raising or folding. They don't need to see the showdown. But if you're seeing a showdown a lot and winning, you're running really well.
of the show.
This is a hand that I see win a lot. 7-5 offsuit. JT's going to, look him up here on the button in position.
Well, it's not like you're going to be interacting with your opponent too much, other than some ace-7 suited, ace-5 suited. When you hit your outs on a board like this, you're usually pretty good.
Right.
So it's definitely tricky to play and risky, but if you're really good navigating post-flop and you can keep the pot small pre-flop, it's not the worst.
Said I'm really on one tonight.
Like he just knows he's good here.
Good to be back.
I would have liked to have seen him maybe bet that bottom pair on the flop.
Yeah,
But he's happy with
That
the
edge. I think it's
small
the-
pot.
yeah, and the 4 gave him more equity on the turn, so he was feeling pretty comfortable there.
So ready to
Got
go
one
back.
call out of it.
So ready. I saw this no
Maybe
Euro
this is the
patches
start
going
of something for
around with
JT.
this. Yeah. Do you see any of them?
He just needs to get a hand like pocket nines
For sure.
and just flop like a 7-high board, and
Yeah, I think
he'll
it
be
really
good to go.
That's funny.
We have our 3 or 4 places.
Ricky's still doing a great job. Hand 33
Some
here.
of them might stick to the.
She's
like
been
the
dealing poker for a long time.
and stuff, you know.
Comes in from Tulsa, Oklahoma,
I did
and
actually think I see,
one of our favorites here at TCH Dallas.
If I bust
If
a
you like
man,
meat,
I'm going
if you like meat, wine, and
How can you not?
exactly.
Yeah.
Raise to 150.
We got a few dealers from Tulsa.
Right.
Lots of Oklahoma dealers started to come down here during the COVID era.
Then it might be a little too early.
Yeah, when those poker rooms really were closing down there, and we were all, of course, wearing masks here and taking safety protocols, but we were open and playing cards long before they were anywhere else in the country. Now that's a flop.
Oh yeah,
Probably not going to get much
not
action.
flush any good.
Yeah, not flush any good.
I had a session here the other day where I only played like 3 hands in like 2 hours. I flopped top set, nut flush, and top 2, and I lost every single hand. I was
It's
just like,
it's a sick
it's like
game,
it's
isn't
a
it?
backdoor.
Right.
It's like a backdoor boat, a backdoor flush draw, and I think somebody like river descent or something. Just like, well, that's not my day.
How many times do you hear somebody say, "I hate poker" when
Yeah.
they're at the table? It's
I'm
like
just sitting there nodding my head. I'm like,
Yeah.
you guys have no idea like how lucky you are.
it's such a fun game. The camaraderie that you get at the table, meeting people from all over the world, different
Yeah,
walks
that's
of
my
life.
that's my favorite part.
Mine too.
I get almost all of my socialization at the poker table, and it's just like,
Honestly.
where are you from? Oh, Israel. You're like,
That's why I was so
Exactly.
what?
surprised.
Like, where would I have met someone from Israel?
Right.
Like at the Irish pub? Certainly not.
Not.
Like, I'm going to meet at the Irish pub. It's like a bunch of drunk white
Right.
people. That's
Yeah.
it.
Singing "True Ralu Ralu Ra,"
Yeah. I've met plenty of them.
I'm 43 years old, and those party bar days are long gone for me. And this is a great place just to come socialize. And you can bring booze here if you want to.
Yep.
TCH Dallas has a BYOB policy where you can bring your own alcohol here, and the waitresses will bring it to you at the table. TCH Las Colinas, the social club, has a full bar, so you can definitely partake. But you just want to come hang out and socialize and meet people from all over the world. It's awesome. Mark Wees with us there. He loves the social aspect.
It's good networking too. Like you run into so many people who have started small businesses and stuff
Right.
at various levels of success. People who work in restaurants and sales and pharmaceuticals. And, I mean, if you just want to meet people, or even if you're not sure about your current career, you can meet
Yeah.
people from all kinds of careers. They can give you advice on how to transition into
You and I
real
both.
estate.
You and I both have had that talks with people about new careers.
You got guys who are structuring life insurance policies, mortgages, people
Yeah.
doing real estate,
Car
running
business.
restaurants, running car washes.
You need a car. There's plenty of people in here who sell cars. AJ with a big flop here for him with a second nut flush draw.
It's gonna get it through straight away though.
Yeah.
Danny's at the
Take it
bottom of
down.
the range here.
He shows him one.
And they make sure you know.
They were super
But at Circa, they don't.
You meet software guys, IT guys, engineers,
Right.
ex-military.
You mean to tell me we have IT professionals
Yeah.
playing poker here? We've got more IT professionals than we know what to do with
Yeah,
here.
probably like 20% of our.
Those are some of
clientele.
the most fun guys to play with. They got some money and they like to get it in the pot and gamble. No gamble, no future, right?
Our VPIPs here are starting to look a little more reasonable. Bridge Mike, Danny playing the tightest so far, but 34 hands, not a very large sample size yet. We'll see how it gets at the end of the night. 80 to 100 hands, be a little bit more accurate. You're typically going to see VPIPs more in the range of 20 to 30%.
Right.
More typical range, 20 being a little bit tight, 30 being slightly loose.
Safine just letting go of the king 6 suit. A lot of people will play those. Didn't really feel like he was going to.
I like the queen 6 suited much better than the king 6 for some reason.
Really?
Yeah.
700.
Rick says when you're retired, poker is your entire social life. I agree. You're in air conditioning. You don't have to get out there and sweat on the golf course. You know, and either way, you're spending money. This place, at least you have an opportunity to, like I said, to meet really cool people, but you also have a chance to win money. So,
yep.
You're not wasting it at one of those nightclubs, I'll call them.
Surprised to see nines fold here. That's interesting. He's just going to be kicking himself.
Ooh, nines is kicking himself. I don't know what the raise was. We were gabbing, but
maybe I missed. Maybe it wasn't pocket 9. It looked like pocket 9s.
I thought I saw 2 black 9s.
Yeah, it's pretty low, but you know, 35 hands, it's pretty easy to run bad and not have much opportunity to play much. Especially with how aggressive some of these players are. If you look down at something like Jack 10, are you really going to play when you've seen an opener and a 3-bet?
Right.
It's like, oh, it's one of the better hands I've seen, but it's kind of a punt to put money in the pot.
This is interesting. You got both guys here with a backdoor nut flush draw, neither one with a pair. And this is that game of chess that we all love in poker here. That
you could definitely have some raises here with a hand like ace-3 suited. It's not the best candidate, but it's not the worst either.
And here we go. He's going to take a stab at this.
I like this play as like a low frequency. You definitely don't want to get out of line, over raising your backdoor draws, but especially against an aggressive opponent, you know, 15-20% of the time you're going to choose a hand like this. It's just a beautiful hand to do it with. Especially as you get deeper stacked here. Both players about 8K effective right now.
Right.
They started the hand about 10K effective.
I'm gonna need it.
Thanks for your threat starting. Hope you catch. Hope you catch.
No, but you're feeling good.
The pocket 9s is just kicking themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just over an hour in. We're at hand 35 here.
Fast forward like 5
Got 130 viewers here. We've got a lot of people in the chat engaging with us. We appreciate that. Like and subscribe, of course. We can't say that enough. TCH, you know, loves to keep this stream going. The more viewers we get, we want more butts in the seats. Is he going to show it? Yeah, he did.
Yeah, there's so much.
Yeah, we want more butts in the seats here. We've got 2 clubs to choose from here in Dallas. We need more poker players. We want to keep growing this thing and make it huge. We're already being talked about. We got people coming in from Europe to play here because they've watched the stream and heard about us in Texas. So,
yep. Get guys from Vegas who literally go into Texas for work or whatever, and they stop by here because they've heard about it.
Right.
It's just awesome to see. They played Vegas their whole lives. They're like, wait, Texas is actually a good place to play poker. All right, let's go check it out. Got a guy the other day. He came in for a, I forget exactly what. I think it was a trading card convention or something.
Okay.
And he knew from YouTube and from, you know, what's the term? The talking, you know, like the watering hole or whatever it is they say. He knew that he could play poker here, and he drove all the way out to play poker when he had come here literally for a trading card convention.
Yeah, and a lot of people still don't really understand or know the laws in Texas. These poker rooms are fully legal. They're social clubs. They're places to play poker. You know, Texas does not have casinos, but we've got these great card rooms that have allowed poker players to do what they love, and it's bringing in a lot of jobs, a lot of opportunity, and I think this thing's just going to continue to grow because TCH is doing everything the right way. So.
Wasn't that big of a pair, but I had a pair.
I don't know if you've heard any feedback from the folks from Vegas. People in the chat, feel free to chime in if you've been to Vegas for the World Series, but I have heard the dealing is not great in Vegas. We're pretty spoiled here with some really professional dealers that know what they're doing. You know, very professional. Most of them have been dealing
we spread a lot of games, and a lot of dealers like to work. They don't want to sit in the break room. And people in Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana especially are a little bit more generous tippers.
Yeah.
So it's just naturally going to attract people who are good at their trade. you know, the potential revenue is higher.
I think they struggle in Vegas during these series the last few years. COVID, I'm sure, had something to do with that. But
Yep.
they're really struggling to get really good quality dealers there. They're pulling people off the blackjack table, you know, to deal in the World Series of poker for all, you know.
Yep.
I figured you hated money.
Yeah,
See if
some
it was
of,
Jackson,
some of
okay.
our dealers will go and deal some series events sometimes.
Right.
They like to get an Airbnb and just go grind really hard for 2
Good
months.
job,
Right.
Pizzola, you know?
So King took down a hand there against JT. He flopped middle pair. Let's see if we can't get another big hand brewing. I know that's what we're all wanting to see, a little bit more blood.
Yeah, J-Rock's got ace king here.
Let's see if anybody else wakes up with something to battle him with.
Yeah, but I mean, the room here?
Yeah, they get their coffee from a specific distributor, and we get.
I think he's just going to take this one down. You saw Benham there fold the ace-5. You know, he was behind in position there, not in a good spot to call him there. But actually, from watching this stream and seeing these higher stakes players play, I've watched that ace-5, you know, call some bets. You know, just you're often behind with, you know, an ace-5, a wheel,
playable.
very playable, and you hit those. And ace-king is going to pay you off if he's got top pair, top kicker, and you spike that 5. Those are fun to play.
Asian noodle place at the end is really good.
But I've seen some big pots on these streams, one with those often suited wheel cards. But
Yep, that's where a lot of your natural 4-bet bluffs comes from.
yep,
And even in like heads-up play or like blind versus blind play, they find a lot of like limp re-raise kind of stuff to balance out some of your stronger hands.
Very smart, sir. Very smart.
One thing a lot of players don't realize is whenever you have one ace or one king in your hand as an overcard, it's always worth about 30% equity.
They do sesame.
poor JT.
Oh my gosh!
Hey,
Again.
you know what?
He just cold called.
He just cold called. Let's see if we can get a big one here.
You can either flop a king here, maybe get away.
Can we
on
get
some
set over
runouts.
set over set, Zach?
Maybe. Wow. So Dunn's gonna flop open-ended here with his pocket eights. JT's got the gutter. Ace is not loving this flop. J-Rock's got middle pair.
No, that's one of the worst flops you can see for aces when you got 3 people calling you.
Yeah. So Kings here is actually the most playable hand. He's gonna get action from eights here.
Can we get a queen on the river, Zach? Can we get a queen on the river?
JD may just, I don't think he'll fold for 200, but
I don't either.
he may get away from this hand though. Any action on the river.
He's definitely going to make a call. We could get a dud on the river, but if we get a queen, we're going to see some fireworks. Or a king. And boom.
Done. Outdoes both players.
From third place to first, real quick. Let's see what kind of sizing he puts out here. What are you thinking, Zach? With a $1,200
I think
pot?
about 800 bucks. He wants to get called by some one pair hands. He's not trying to fold too much. Looks like maybe 6 he's going for. There's no need for him to go two polar here.
And if you're JD, you're losing all 2 pairs. Obviously, you're losing in the 8x.
You can
King,
value
queen.
bet. You can value bet some 2 pairs, even though it's a 4-liner, because the 8 is going to be somewhat difficult to have, not too difficult. But you can still value bet a hand like 10-9, Jack-9 here.
And JT makes a very disciplined fold.
He managed to save a lot of money that hand.
Queens, kings, or aces? Okay, sure.
This guy, you're fucking.
So
Never tell you.
JD's not telling him what he had. He didn't show his hand, and they're trying to guess what he had. He's frustrated. It's always frustrating to get run out, but you can lose a lot more money with aces, and he did a good job just making the call there.
JT as well. I mean, he lost like 350 in that hand.
With kings against aces.
Yeah, against aces. That's better than I would have done.
I'm like right there, so I just.
I don't know that I'm strong enough to just flat
I'm over
there.
there.
No. The only time I would flat there is if the people behind left to act were like super squeeze happy. And sometimes I would maybe do it, but
Yeah, I'm looking to get it in with kings every time.
but he's got a shorter stack, so
Right.
I would only be flatting if I was really deep stacked for some deception. With the short stack, I'm just trying to get it in.
Are we watching how I fold?
How long have you been playing, Zach? Total, you think? How many years?
I think I started when I was 21 or 22, so 6 or 7 years for me.
Right.
I was just a degenerate gambler you know, when I was in the Navy and stressed out all the time, so I would show up and play blackjack. And I remember watching the WSOP on YouTube one year, and I was like, I forgot poker was a thing. I was like, that might be a smarter way to gamble. You're playing against people. You just got to make better decisions. So I started watching YouTube and studying up a little bit and walked around the casino trying to find the poker room. I couldn't find it. And I was asking everybody where the poker was at. They kept pointing me over to the ultimate Texas Hold'em table game. Eventually I found it and hopped in a 2-4 limit game. And I was like, wow, this is pretty boring. Like, oh, you can play no limit if you want. And so that's just how I started. Within a couple months, I was playing at the 5-10 table because it usually didn't have a list.
Right.
And that was my logic. I was like, hey, I brought 2,000 to play blackjack. I can play 5-10, and there's no list up there. I can get seated immediately. And gradually learned how to play. Nowadays, I play 1-2 and 2-5.
Very playable hands. I see King 8 suited win a lot of hands at TCH. Safine opens it up. JT likes his suited ace 10. Pops it up a little bit. He's going to get called by the Queen Jack off, so he eliminated one of the players. Let's see if he can get some luck here. It's a pretty good flop for him.
Yeah. Backdoor flush.
I think the first year I was in Texas, I didn't
Passable kicker. Second pair for AJ. Gonna see it continue here.
Some days, it's not beautiful.
He's got 5 outs.
I always like when people tell me they don't open hands that they can't defend.
And that's a great turn card for him. Very safe.
Jack still happy to see a river, and JT's picking up the flush draw with his ace-10 suited here.
Could we get the Jack of Spades on the river, Zach? Could we? Is that too much to ask for?
Yeah, Jack. It's dead.
It is dead.
I think.
Okay.
All depends on the day.
It does look like it's dead.
Doesn't even show it up there actually.
It doesn't. I don't see the Queen of Spades either. Well, it's showing AJ's outs too. So.
Oh, it's not dead. It's just not a queen out because it gives him a flush. That's what it was showing.
Yeah. We're looking for action here, folks. We're trying to juice this thing up a little bit, but JT wins a $600 pot, helping him get some of his losses back. I've told this story before. We're talking about how long we've been playing cards. I took a girl to a first date to see Rounders when I was a freshman at TCU. Never played Texas Hold'em in my life. We go see Rounders. Both of us leave going, that was boring, and what an idiot, wasting away his law career to go play this silly game in Vegas. 5 years later, I transfer, I go to UNT, and I meet some guys. They're watching poker on TV. The Chris Moneymaker era is upon us. You know, every day they're watching Sammy Farha and those guys play. And they had me play a 25-cent, 50-cent game with them. I win $40 my first session. I've been hooked ever since.
Yeah.
And now I quote Rounders like it's going out of style. I think I'm Teddy KGB half the time at the table, you know.
$40 is a lot in a 25-cent, 50-cent game. That's pretty good.
$40 for a 25-year-old broke college kid was a lot of money back then.
2 pair for Benham. Just running so pure today. Top and bottom.
The Rounders is such a staple, you know, for the American poker player. But, you know, we do get a lot of guys that have moved here from India and places, and they have no clue what Rounders is.
Yeah,
they don't know who Doyle Brunson is. You know, these guys that we grew up watching, you know, they're having to learn about now. So I've had to tell people, go watch that movie.
Yep.
If you're going to watch any poker movie, at least go watch that one.
Yeah, Rounders is the pinnacle.
Smart guy, but I don't like when you yell at my hands to everybody.
Sorry. I'll keep it.
Safine here's got a second pair and a gut shot.
I want them to have the fear.
I think. Yep. 4 will give him a straight. 9-8 has a gut shot to the 7.
You see all the action and you see the result of the showdown, and then you try to guess and like look smart, you know? Like,
A little bit of a loose call on the turn there, hoping for the gut shot, but JT's just trying to make something happen here.
No, I mean, I think you're pretty good at narrowing it down after you know the shoe one lose the showdown.
A half pot bet here from Benham. Probably going to get some action bot from AJ.
I think he will. He's got it's a $400.
It does look pretty strong betting into multiple opponents. So sometimes he can get away, but I think AJ's the type just to look it up. I would look it up.
And ace-10's not a bad hand here. You know, it feels obviously like the guy wants a call here, but you still beat a few other aces and you beat bluffs.
Yeah, you beat some 4x kind of hands, like some 4-5, 6-4 that have an open ender. Maybe a second pair they know isn't any good.
Right. Another nice win for Benham there. If anybody's interested in playing in any of these streams here, this is how you can get on a stream. You can contact Mallory, you can scan this code here, but you can play on these streams. There's the email address tchlivedtx@texascardhouse.com, or contact Mallory directly. She hosts these games. These have been going really well for a long time. They've got some lower stakes games they play as well sometimes. So if you want to play, that's how you get on.
Yeah, Nelson, you called the 50. Call.
Benham's still our big winner, up 8,000.
He's up 8,000 now. The next closest one is up 2.5K. The other guys are up the kind of amounts that you might win at a 1-2 game, $300. You know, that's how the swings are in these games.
You lose, you always did. I see him.
JD's going to raise up the ace-jack, looking for something to play. Ace-jack's good enough. Fiend's got the ace-jack suited.
Oh, nice, yeah. Matthew Meyer says, what's up? How you doing, Matthew?
Don't you figure out like he has?
These are always fun hands to watch when the guys have the same hand. They both brick.
Yeah, see how they play the board.
And you know that happens often at the table. You just don't get to see the showdown.
Check on the flop. Probably gonna see a turn stab and a turn float. Fiend does go a little bit large here, so JD may decide to just let it go.
He's grinning. He's gonna look him up. These guys have a lot of hours playing together.
Yeah, he knows this turn stabbing range is wide enough that he's good fairly often with the ace jack, and he's just got to play a river. Probably
showdown
check.
Value.
Yep.
Look at him slow rolling. Look at him. Well done, JD. Little 5-second slow roll there. Chop it up.
Yeah, he recognizes he doesn't really need to turn his hand into a bluff there very much. He can just showdown and win.
I've seen some pretty good ace highs and even king highs lately at the 1-2 streets. You know, players that are sticky and, you know, on a river bet that just doesn't make sense. You know, players will roll over a king high and, you know, take down a $200 pot. It's part of the game. You know, if you just don't feel like your opponent's got what's on the board, you know, sometimes you gotta.
Sometimes you can even call out a hand like almost exactly. It's just like you have 9-7 of hearts. Just like I call like, and they're just like, "Did you see my hand?" I don't know. Sometimes you just know.
Nice, Matthew. I have not played at the Austin TCH yet. I've played at Spring. I've actually played at the club down in the Rio Grande Valley with TCH. It's a really nice run club. I have not played in Austin yet, or the new Houston location. What do you like about the Austin location, Matthew? I see it's your home club there.
I was streaming back in the day.
Really? On Twitch?
No, before the tournament went.
Gonna check his option out of the straddle, it looks like. King Queen versus 6-4.
It's nice.
Dude, he's got bottom pair, AJ with the open-ended and overcards.
And actually has more equity here.
Yep. But he probably continues. You're really not allowed to fold pairs when your opponents are playing reasonable ranges on the flop. You just kind of have to see a turn, see a river. And given the spades on board and JD not having a spade in his hand, he doesn't block a lot of the bluffs that AJ may have, so he still just has to see a river, even though 6-4 does not seem like a good hand at all.
Well, I'm curious to see if AJ's going to give up here, wave the white flag, or take another stab at it. He's going to wave the white flag.
He's just going to showdown and win.
Showdown with king high, and JD's going to win with a pair of fours, 2 pair.
Time for the net game.
Yeah, let's put the
Mark, you've got Eric Van Loozen here and Zachary Baker. I'm a player here, been playing since this place opened. I know you know me, Mark. Zach's obviously one of the dealers here and player. He's had some really good success at the tournament streets, and you play some of the mixed games here too, don't you?
Yeah, I play just about everything. Just a matter of what I feel like doing.
Right.
I think Hold'em's my best, followed by PLO. But the PLO just plays so big here in Texas.
It does.
It's hard to have fun playing it for me, because Like, yeah, when you win, it's great, but whenever you start to be stuck 2,000, it's just like I want to throw something through the freaking window.
PLO is like golf or something, man. You just it's a humbling. It's just so humbling because you get it in good every time on the turn, and you can lose every single one of those hands.
It's like when you go bowling and you throw it just directly into that little side thing.
Right.
Just it's like, oh well, yeah, that was great.
I've lost $200 or $2,000 pots in PLO to guys who didn't even know the card on the river gave them what it gave them. You know,
It's like, I don't think I have anything. It's like, you have the nuts straight.
Nice. Thanks for the info, Matthew. The other thing I was going to ask you is if TCH Austin is 24 hours or if it closes it. I planned to go there a long time ago, and I fell asleep. Woke up at 3 or 4 in the morning, and it was actually closed. So I'm not sure if they are a 24-hour club like these are here in Dallas, but
It might just go till the game breaks.
if so, I definitely want to go check it out. I've got a friend I'm going to visit in Austin pretty soon, so I'd love to come by and meet the staff there and maybe run into you.
A little bit behind here on this hand. The graphics weren't quite catching up, but pretty standard spot here.
3 kings on the flop for J-Rock. Rich Mike just didn't catch his jack.
The game's afoot.
Here we go.
So they say.
Yeah, I played in Austin a few years ago before Dallas was open. It was
At
like,
TCH?
Yeah, TCH.
Okay.
It was like one of the only spots you could play in Texas.
Was that their first club, TCH?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went down there for a job interview with somebody, or maybe it was a job conference, something when I first got out of the military. And I hopped in there. Brad Owen was doing a meetup game.
Oh, wow.
So I showed up wearing, a nice shirt, slacks, and dress shoes and everything. And
I listened to some audiobooks like
no matter how good of a player you are, if you show up wearing a suit or like a tie, people give you so much action, it's ridiculous.
Right.
Like, even if you played with them before, you can play with somebody 10 times, they see you in a suit, and it's just like psychologically, they're like, oh yeah, he's here to gamble.
Maybe that's what I need to do, because I can't get guys to jam bluff into me when I have the nuts, and I see it
I
all
swear,
the time.
you throw on a suit, and it's like, you'll get more action than you've ever gotten in your entire life. I first started playing in Connecticut, and I bought my first suit when I was up there, just before I got out of the military, and I put on that thing. I showed up to play, and I played here 3 times a week, and every single 3-bet was getting called. Like, it was just ridiculous.
I heard Safine talking about that earlier on the stream. Sometimes you just don't like to fold.
Yep.
Some people just won't fold because they're just not in the mood.
Entire book had the first letter.
And usually, you welcome that if you've got a strong hand. But
You're saying the entire book?
Sometimes people are like, let's play, let's splash around. Here we got JT with Jack 4 suited. Looks like it was in the straddle, so he just completed the action out of a straddle.
he's not going to represent that. That's a big card for him.
Oh yeah.
For him. Now he's picking the wrong time to represent a straight or a 7 here.
I think he's betting thin value. I think he's trying to get called by like an ace jack type
Ace high,
hand.
yeah. And the run good for Mr. Venom continues.
Probably gonna make it like $1,100, $1,500. I think it's a little large. It's gonna be hard to get some action. Probably a good size to balance your overall range, but just exploitatively, you're just not gonna get paid very often.
He shows that he spiked that monster hand there on the river. He was already in the lead, but
He might have gone larger because of the net game, so he thinks he's gonna get action more often.
that's right. I missed that. They've got the buttons out there now. They're playing the knit game again. I've seen some places still call this the stand-up game, even though they're not standing up. They're just, it's a variation of it, so they just continue to call it the stand-up game. But I like the knit button. I've never played the stand-up game, and I don't think that I would enjoy standing up.
Yeah, they recommended it one time when we were playing. They did a dealer stream a while ago. They're like, we should do the stand-up game or something. I was like, there's no way I am standing up, guys. Like, it's just not happening. I do not want to stand up next to a poker table. They're like, oh, you're killing the action. I was like, I'll do something else, but I'm not going to stand up.
Some romance novels, some dirty little.
I had like a book report on it, and I had to like read it in one night, and I really liked it, and so I was able to do it.
Pocket 5s here for JT. Pretty decent hand here. Big lick for Safine.
I'm gonna show one card.
And he's like, he doesn't get the reference. I'm like,
I changed my mind.
Everybody kind of misses the flop here, but JT's going to leave a pair. Fiend's going to take a stab at it. Probably win.
no, you're thinking of
Safine's in lead there with the heart, the bet and the plan.
Now, Mark, is that virgin acrylic? Because we only want the best here at TCH. So, is it virgin acrylic? I need to know. The knit buttons are made of acrylic. Mark says he's going to get us some new ones. That's great.
Where do you even get those made? Like, do you have like a supplier you contact or something? Do a little Photoshop or Adobe editing or something. Just send it into them.
Coaster size circle cutout is what you probably have to request, but Mark will tell us.
Pocket 9s for AJ.
Made in China. Get out of here, Mark.
I don't think China makes very much.
No. We got a raise here with pocket 9s. We've seen that hand quite a bit. We have not seen it spike a set. I've got a buddy that just joined. One of the gentlemen who taught me how to play poker, Mr. Trent Patton. Welcome, my friend. One of the men responsible. Did I call this or did I call this? We have a spike set here.
Yep.
2 guys with aces and bought a mid set here for AJ. Welcome to the chat there. Easy E was definitely my name. I think he called me Sleazy E a little bit in those days, but we won't talk about those days. Good stuff, Trent, man. Thanks again for teaching me this crazy game we love.
100 net buttons. That's a lot.
This is the action flop that we've been waiting for. It's been a little slower the last few hands, so let's see.
See a club for Max Payne, yep.
Max Payne
I just
here.
knew it. I knew it was coming to club.
How about the deuce of clubs on the river here?
Oh, yeah, that would do it.
Poor JT, though.
Yeah, he just has to continue. He can't ever get away from it.
He's got $985 left, and the pot's 1,000.
It's not even like he could get away if AJ overbets it because he's got a pot size bet. That's it.
Yeah. And he's putting, 3/4 size bet. He's looking down at his stack. Like, what do I do?
Sometimes you get stacked. He actually might have a little more. It looks like he has a 1K chip.
He does have a 1K chip. Yeah.
He's probably got about 1,300. Something. A little less.
I think that's right at 13, yeah.
1,250, 1,300. So
he's going to go with it. He's going to take this draw and got to hit a club here. He's definitely getting snap called. An ace does him no good, so he's got to hit a club here. And it cannot be the 2 of clubs. Well, good luck, JT. Let's see if he can't get this thing turned around. Even J-Rock's thinking about calling with his ace, so AJ is licking his chops right now.
J-Rock should be able to get away. I'm surprised he didn't just snap fold.
Oh, Big Tank is watching. What's up, Roundhouse, Mr. Roundtree? Man, I had a really good group of guys that we played tournaments and stuff all the time. Like I said, it was a 25-cent, 50-cent game. I think we upped it to 50, 100, or 50 and a dollar. That was a big game for us, back then in college.
Where was this at?
In Denton.
Denton, okay.
Yeah. We had a friend that had a big house, and I ended up living with these guys. It was like a 5 guys bachelor house. We ran tournaments. It was awesome.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, we'd have 50 people show up sometimes. Was that a queen?
Wow, J-Rock calls. He just doesn't believe it.
And JT went all in. I didn't catch that river. Looks like a queen on the river. Yeah, he ended up getting a full house there.
Yep.
Big hand for AJ there. Wins 2K. Yeah, anybody else in the chat, if y'all want to comment on how long you've been playing and where you learned. Was it a family?
I don't think J-Rock called there. I think
no, he didn't call.
Yeah. I was like, there's no way he just called there.
Yeah, did you guys learn Texas Hold'em through other games? I know a lot of people learn from draw and stud, playing hearts or spades with your families, but I learned Texas Hold'em through college buddies. I wasn't playing any other poker, so curious to see where everybody else got their start in poker.
I played Texas Hold'em for the first time when I was like 11 years old.
Really?
And I thought it was the funnest game ever. We were playing like all fake money, just my brother's friends and stuff. And I was like, man, we should play this all the time. And then didn't play it again until I was 21 or 22. I'd completely forgotten about the game. And as soon as I played it again, I was like, yeah, I wish I would have found out about this earlier. Started playing when I was 18.
The answer is always
Mark, if you've been playing for less than a year, God bless you, brother, because you're one of the best out there in the low stakes games that we play that we turn into pretty good sized stakes actually. But love playing with you. Very solid player. You like putting people to the test and fun to play with. So if you really learned at TCH a year ago, that's awesome. A lot of chess players come
Yeah,
over.
chess is pretty popular too.
And-
It goes
and
both ways. A lot of poker players get into chess. A lot of chess players get into poker.
once chess players realize that there's money involved in poker,
It's a strategy game you can play for money. You know, chess you can play for money too, but
we got Doug R in the chat saying he's still not learned how to play poker. It feels like that sometimes, Doug. I feel you. I learn a new lesson every night I play poker. And I've been playing off and on since 2005 or whatever year it was I started. But every night I learn something new. I do something wrong and have to remember.
Venom just
New
runs
tricks.
so pure. He's got ace queen again. JD's got ace queen, trying to figure out what he's gonna do here. Venom's already 3-bet, so he's got to put in the cold 4 or fold generally. With the Nick game, I think he's leaning towards a 4-bet. Probably choose like a 2.2K sizing or something. He's a little smaller than I expected. Make 1.8K. He's gonna opt to use a smaller 4-bet sizing. Basically saying he's gonna 4-bet with a larger portion of his range.
Doug says he doesn't play, he punts. Well, I will be your punt returner, Doug. I'll take it to the house if you want to punt off some chips to me. He
didn't even show the hand to get rid of his nip button. They asked him if he's going to. He was like, "No, I'm not showing."
Ace queen.
Yeah. He's like, "I'll win another one. I'm not going to show you."
That's pretty impressive. JD's good enough action that he can do that. You know, how many times did you have the ace queen and you probably could 3 or 4 bet because you're good, you know, and you just don't because you're afraid of that ace king or that pair of kings that's going to
you should actually be 4-betting fairly often with with the ace queen when you're deep stacked and against capable opponents.
But you get those flashbacks, those times that you jam with ace king and you run into aces. So this is a game where you gotta just get those old memories out and just forget about those past hands. Because go with the math. I try to be a math guy. I go with the percentages.
Well, in the 1-2 and 1-3, people just aren't 3-betting enough. So when you start to 4-bet it, you're punting.
Yeah, we're not playing.
These guys are 3-betting 8-9 suited, 6-8 suited, king jack, king queen, ace jack, ace 9. Like they mix it in a lot. So ace queen's ahead of a lot of their range there. Top pair here for Safine. Always nice.
Yeah, a lot of the guys when I was living in Denton, obviously it was close to drive up to Oklahoma to play, but now that we've moved into Dallas, it's so much nicer to have this club here. I'm 15 minutes from this club, 19 or 20 from the other club, right here in our backyard, legal, safe, great security, great staff. It's a great thing having Texas, having poker be legal. That's really good for us.
Oh, 2-pair for Safine now. If Danny decides to triple off here, it's just not getting through at all. I think Danny will slow down. He recognizes Safine's probably got at least king queen.
Safine gets to get rid of the button there.
King 10 suited is probably about the worst kings Safine will have there.
These guys do a great job taking care of the dealers too. It's
I don't think I've seen a tip less than $5.
Yeah.
Safine with the highest pre-flop raise here, 29%. He's raised every single hand he's played.
No, this was a tournament. I would have definitely overbet.
I think I made a mistake and called Brenham at least once, so I'll apologize to him for that. There's a Brenham, Texas. So I keep getting that confused. I got a buddy that's from Brenham, but Brenham is still running really good at this table.
He's fun to play with. He definitely mixes it up. I've played with him a few times.
Yeah, that's a great point, Doug. It's the way that the tables are played at the 1-2 streets. They're just not that deep, and you really got to pick your bluffs your spots to bluff, because it's hard to get people to fold for just a couple $100, you know, if they just don't care.
Yeah, you don't bluff, Mark. Yep. I'm sure that's the case.
But isn't it nice, Mark, when somebody, you know, jam bluffs into you when you got the nuts? I don't have that happen to me enough, but
Easy game.
Easy game.
That's what's kind of nice about the 1-2 here, our Dallas location. You can buy in for 500, and a lot of players opt to do so. So even though it's a 1-2 game, you do have more options as you get into later streets. People are usually raising to 10 or 15. You go 3 or 4 ways. Like you can get a flop bet, a turn bet. You still have some money behind, so you can bluff on the river.
There's a spot right there, you know. Ace-9, ace high there, takes it down.
It works.
He gets rid of his knit button. Yeah, I'm you know, compared to playing at the casinos, when you play here at a 1-2 table and you can sit down and the guy across from you has 6K in front of him. I mean, you don't see that at the casinos, you know, because everybody plays so tight. They're raising $7 pre-flop. Here, you know, it's 1-2, 20, sometimes 60 real quick.
Yeah,
and
the volatility just gets a lot higher.
I'll take one more.
I have not had a session that I've run it up that high, but I've seen guys in a 1-2 table. You know, the guy that played and had a 10K stack, and you hear those stories. That's awesome.
I think the most I've gotten in a 1-2 game was actually whenever we did the 300 cap buy-in. It wasn't even the 500. I had like 3,600.
I have not had a 3,600 session in 1-2 for sure, but
I've gotten up to 4,500 on a 500 cap 2-5 game before.
Right.
That's about it.
The worst is when a scumbag tries to run a pot burst and I'm like, I call it, oh no, it was a misdeal.
Yeah, I like the deeper stack 1-2 here.
Right.
Sometimes I like to play the 300 cap game at Las Colinas. If I don't have that much cash on me, I just want to relax a little bit more.
Right.
But overall, I think the
when
500
I start
is
getting
very
close
good.
to 2K, I get a little gun shy. I want to take that money home, you know. Mark's had a couple of 5Ks, yeah. I've seen a guy have a $6,700 stack in a 1-2 when it was 300 cap, and that guy left with $700, you know. Because he started, you know, alcohol's involved. He's putting $300 in pre-flop, and I mean,
I think 7K might be the biggest I've seen.
He's punting to everybody, and it's just one of those guys that part of you hates to be at the table because you can't play a hand when a guy's just jamming pre every time, but you just need one hand. Yeah, you just wait. Once that alcohol starts flowing. Nice hand for Bridge Mike with queens.
Pocket queens there. The graphics were a little bit behind there.
Right. He did not have ace-7. He had queens there. Yeah, but the fact that you can come here and play for $300 or $500 and turn that into 5K if you run good is, you know, most people just want to double or triple their buy-in, you know, and they're happy with that. They go home.
I did one time where I cashed out like $100 in tips and sat down, and I think I had $2,800 at the peak, and I cashed out like $2,200, and it was like 2.5 hours.
Right.
It was just like, oh, cool. Like,
Kimmy Stone, thank you for the compliments. There's a nice compliment saying who's commentating. It's the dealer, Zach Baker, and you probably remember Eric Van Loozen. I just joined your Facebook group for the low stack grinders or whatever that it's called, but we played a little bit in tournaments, and I actually had a part-time job here for a while, chip running, while I was kind of in a transition for work. But I'm normally a 1-2 or 2-5 player here, Kimmy. But thank you very much for the compliments. Zach and I are buddies out of TCH and here in TCH as well, so it's kind of been smooth for us to commentate together. But this is only my second time doing the Tuesday. First time doing the Tuesday stream. I did a tournament. Zach's been in here a couple times, but we're really enjoying it. We love seeing you. So Kimmy, get back on the stream here. Get your husband on there. We like seeing you guys both play on these streams as well.
Not me. Last time Hayden played with me, he stacked me for like 3,000. So he owes me some money back.
I got to see them play at another club not too long ago as well, but I like seeing them play. They're staples. How awesome is it to see a husband and wife play cards?
Yeah,
you know,
well,
and enjoy the game. And I don't know anybody who doesn't enjoy playing with them either. So they're part of the poker community here. So thank you guys for making it fun for everybody. That's the great thing, man. You hear people who have dealt, the dealers like yourself, who have dealt at casinos, dealt other places. Everybody always comments on how nice the players are here compared. You know, every now and then you get somebody that gets a little off, but
I'm
people here are
been
really
sure.
nice.
Is that something we've cultivated here, or is it just the Texas environment where just on average we just have people who are just more pleasant to be around? You know, I'm from Texas, so I'd like to think that's the case, but I really don't know.
Right.
Like,
I'm hoping it's the Texas culture as well. Yeah, Kimmy, I've seen you both straggle in over there at Las Colinas. I've been playing a couple graveyard shifts, just one, too. That 2-2 game must be good if you guys are willing to get up and play the graveyard shift.
It's nuts. Like,
is it the 2-2 or 2-5 you guys are playing? I'm not sure, but that 2-5 was wild last night.
They've been spreading a ton. They had like 7-2-5 PLO games going, like 5-2-5 no limits. I think 1 or 2 2-2 PLOs, and like 5-1-2 no limits the other day. It was just like nuts.
Right. We did have a dealer change while Zach and I were gabbing here. Ricky did a great job dealing. They're going to do a bomb pot here in a second. Looks like we just had a little oopsie there, so we're going to start this hand over and do a $100 PLO bomb pot.
We decided to chop it and start over, and I guess he's not coming back. I don't know if there's a right
2-5 PLO, Kimmy says.
Are we starting over again or not? Save money. Well, because the dealer change, we'll start over.
Sorry, it was just such a layout. Yeah, no, it was easy. Like, yeah, that's fine.
We've got Andre in the box here.
I think we should start again.
Andre's fun when he comes in and does a bomb pot. He says, "Everybody, let's blow stuff up."
Yep.
I think he says it in a little different wording, but we'll just say he likes to say blow stuff up.
Yeah, he's been dealing a long time. I think he was telling me it started in the 90s, maybe.
Oh, really?
Something like that.
He may not have room for it here, but he always brings candy or mints to the table and gives it out to everybody. Just a really nice guy. Where's the ace? Bridge Mike's got an ace.
This is a
Dunn has an ace.
flip.
Dunn has a full house. Ace is full of nines. So unless a 10 hits on the river, it's
He's a 10 also.
I got a boat.
nobody has ace king.
Yeah, Dunn's
Ace 9
golden.
for Dunn, right? Wins $700.
Fuck me.
It's a winner.
Oh, he has an ace.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, look at that. Wow.
Ace 9 is
No wonder we didn't win.
Yeah.
Looks like we may have lost a player. Maybe JT may have decided to
Yeah, he busted earlier and just he
Call it
opted
a
not to
night.
come back.
Everybody else was cool with them chopping you?
Okay, I mean, it's already done. I prefer it not to, but you guys are making it.
I think in that specific instance,
Sometimes we got a list on these stream games and it'll fill back up, and sometimes it's a little bit slower. A lot of players don't like giving away the information for their whole cards. We have a few of the higher stakes players who they'll hop in when the stream is over, but they don't ever want to play on stream.
Right. Yeah, and we do have people that play up here for a living. So some of these guys are businessmen, and some of these guys do this for a living.
It's always an interesting question, you know. It's like, do you play in the game that's really good, but you have to give away some information, or do you just play the regular game with some of the grinders and conceal as much as you can?
We should try to fill the seat, but not
If you're playing a very well balanced strategy, it shouldn't really matter that people see what you're doing.
Are you going to be back in the next
But
15 minutes? If not,
it's pretty
we
tough
have
to do that.
players that
Right.
will play.
I could just text Valerie.
And most of these guys have plenty of bluffs in their game. 3 bets, 4 bets. They're not playing just your face-up poker.
Come on, baby. Be the table captain. Let's go.
I actually kind of like when people get to see my whole cards a little bit, because a lot of the time people make assumptions about you based on your age or your race or your sex, and they're just completely off base. And it's kind of nice whenever they're like, oh, he's actually playing reasonably. He's not just completely barreling anything all the time.
Right.
I felt the same thing as JD earlier.
Ace King versus Ace 10.
We might see some good action on this one. We've got a backdoor flush opportunity for Venom. AJ flopping the world here. Top.
I think a queen is not the case. Looks like it's 6 or an 8 or something.
Yeah, they may have a little. There, 6
yep.
of diamonds.
So it does give Venom a backdoor flush draw, but no longer a gutter. Backdoor flush draw is coming in. What probably happened there is one of the burn cards got read on the card reader.
And AJ's checking this to him. Very interesting line he's taking if he's just trying to set him up for a big bet here. But he's got top 2.
Jay has arrived, and
Yeah, if you raise, like, what are you getting action from? It's got to be ace queen, ace jack, pocket sixes, pocket nines.
Let's see if this is where he pops it up. Nope, he's just going to call.
Yeah, I wouldn't advocate for a raise very often. You're just going to, like, if somebody has like a hand like ace queen, they may just get away from it.
Ooh. And this is what you wanted to avoid.
Yep. And he has the king of diamonds here, so he blocks the backdoor flush with top two.
And there's probably no amount that he could have bet there on the turn that's going to make Venom fold here. But Venom's run good continues.
Thank you very much, Kimmy. Appreciate you.
Kimmy, that's awesome. Thank you.
Always a pleasure to have you around. We'll be here. We'll be here Wednesday. Someone in here.
We've got a bet of 800, and Venom immediately shows him who's boss here.
Yeah.
Puts in a $2,000 raise, and AJ has to call.
He has the king of diamonds. He can't really get away from it. It's basically like pocket sixes or a backdoor flush with a hand like he has.
Right.
That's it. You know, 10-8 never really gets there like this. There's no straights. It is kind of tough to find bluffs.
And Danny's not somebody who's going to be a player that's tilted by something, but have you ever been at a table though and seen the one guy like Venom's running right now,
yeah,
where it actually puts people on tilt who aren't even losing? Yeah, they're not even losing to that guy, but it puts them on tilt because they're just sick of seeing that same player win. And Danny just made kind of a funny joke. He's not on tilt, obviously. Danny's too good for that, but he said, "Oh, Mr. Nuts over there." There he goes, rolling over the nuts again, and another monster hand for Venom. It's if you look there at the list, he's up quite a bit.
JT's back, it looks like.
Oh, JT's coming back. Okay.
Went home and grabbed some money. Not usually your favorite thing to do. Done it a few times.
But yeah, it looked like there was maybe 3 or 4 players that were in the green, and everybody else is in the red right now. So
yeah, Venom's just crushing it. Just sun running.
Doug, that's exciting that you're going to be back in the swing. I'm glad your wife is healing up. Prayers for her, but love to have you back in here. You're a fun guy to watch too.
I'm not sure what my longest break is playing poker. Can't be more than a month.
Thank you again, Kim, for the super chat. That was awesome. You didn't hear that earlier, but TCH crew here works really hard, doing all the production and everything to get this this stream going. There's a lot of other people that try to do streams. Nobody does it quite like TCH.
Can you ask what the biggest stack is?
No, Jay, you're good. Don't worry about it, Jay.
Yeah.
We've been a couple hours in. I know the guys always like to do this, but where is everybody watching the stream from? Are you in Dallas? Are you out of town somewhere else? Are you somebody who's not played here before? Tell us where you're watching the stream from.
King Jack suited versus 9-8 suited here between Dunn and J-Rock. I don't think Danny's in the hand. I think Danny's folded.
Yeah, he doesn't have cards.
Yeah.
Do you agree with my price?
350. What was your price?
I feel like technically, if he was in pain,
Oh yeah, online PLO will teach you real quick about the meaning of volatility. It is one of the better games to learn, though. There's always going to be good games, good action in PLO. If you can embrace the variance and deal with the swings, there's some money to be made for sure.
Dunn's going to win another small pot here. They both had pairs and draws by the time the turn got there, but that Jack is going to hold.
I would have thought they would have ballooned up the pot a little bit on the turn.
Right. Especially J-Rock having the open ender there. I thought he might put a little money in there. Dublin, Georgia. Thanks, Lazarush.
I played when COVID first broke out. I was playing on Global Poker. 10 cent, 20 cent, 25 cent, 50 cent PLO. 2 to 4 tabling. I made 2,000 in like 30 hours playing like micro stakes PLO. And then I started to notice the players at the table were people I had notes on who were good. And I was like, oh, I guess all the free money's gone now. So I just cashed out. Bridge Mike with the 9-8 suited.
Just a small one.
Massachusetts, Frank, thank you. Frank from Massachusetts. I've yet to visit Massachusetts. Frank, I'll have to go visit sometime. I know I want to see Fenway Park, but there's got to be some good casinos up there too.
Yeah, they got a few now. Used to be you had to go to Connecticut.
And JT Hold with a pair of sixes. I'm rooting for the guy.
9-8 picks up a gutter here. King Deuce betting with Hope and a Dream.
And unfortunately for him, he's going to have to let that go.
9-8.
And good thing he
Straight
did.
comes in, yeah.
Good thing he did. Not sure what Dunn's representing, but he's going to go ahead and I'm sure lay this down. He was in the hand trying to hit something, but
Yeah, just turn stab. Felt like everybody was weak, seeing if he can pick up some free money.
Chip is watching us from almost heaven, West Virginia. Man, I've seen pictures of the University of West Virginia, and that campus and just the area around it is just gorgeous. Had some friends that worked in the oil field up there, but I've never been to West Virginia either, so that whole Northeast is definitely an area that I've never been to. So
Yeah, almost certainly his heat index is a bit lower.
Right, the heat index in Massachusetts right now is definitely not 117. You can cook an egg on your dashboard right now. It's ridiculous, but God bless Texas. But man,
Hopped in the pool at my parents' house yesterday, and the water was like so hot. I mean, it was like it was hotter than my body temperature in the pool.
It's like Texas lakes, you know.
I was like, oh, this is not refreshing at all. Feels like I just submerged myself in spit or something.
It's got to be that happy medium, like the California coast. Like that water's too cold, but our water's like bath water. There's got to be a happy medium.
Rich Mike's all in.
Pocket tens.
No, raise to 250. That makes more sense.
Yeah, he's definitely not all in.
This is a 400 big blind shove. I do not want this knit button.
That's a favorite hand of mine, the 9-7 or 7-9, I call it, because that's the year I was born. But those suited semi-connectors are always fun.
7's going to flop a pair. 10's with an overpair.
So Jack on the board. Jack's got a pair.
Oh, Jack on the board. Okay.
Wager is 350 or 325.
10 is still liking this flop pretty well. AJ's got the backdoor flush draw. Backdoor straight draw.
Middle pair, so he might continue, see if he can spike something.
He's got 5 outs, but they're not all clean, so it will be a little bit tricky to play 3 ways.
And there's the deuce.
Yep.
The black deuce.
Always there to save the day.
Always there to save the day. What we call the action card, right? Doesn't change anything.
It's the best whenever you have like pocket 2s with a diamond and you decide to float. And it's just like the most innocuous card. Everyone's like, oh, look, a brick. It's like, oh, no, I've got a set.
Yes, Mark, Easy E is an old man. I was almost an 80s baby, but late December of 79. There's a feller named Jimmy Carter was president. I bet you ask half the room playing tonight, they don't know who Jimmy Carter is, but
he's got a submarine named after him.
He does. Not the one that we won't talk about that. Submarines are big. This I don't know what's going on in the news. I don't watch much news, but
Rich Mike's actually going for value here with the 10s. Very thin value, and J-Rock actually was considering a fold, I think.
Nice. Jedi Master 7-6. That's another fun one. 7-6 would be nice to have right now, though, wouldn't it?
That's not straight. He only has 4 cards.
2 pair. Very nice. Yeah, I think he almost accidentally got J-Rock to fold when he was actually betting very thin value.
Yeah, it updated. Fix it.
Yeah, you got plenty of time.
If you can find a spot to bet thin value and get called, like that's the name of the game.
There's the earnings. We've got one guy winning $200. The other two are up 4K and 11K. again, you got 9 people sitting at a table. Unfortunately, not everybody wins. So
Maybe they thought both
one of those things where just don't expect to win every night. You're definitely not going to win every night, whether it's the play, the seat that you're in, all the different variables. A mistake here and there that you make, but you're definitely not guaranteed to win just because you're sitting at the table, no matter how good you are.
Even some of the best players in the world have win rates that are like 60 to 65%
65, right,
of their sessions. And you could even make an argument if you're winning at a higher clip than that you're playing in too low stakes.
Right.
If you're winning at like 70% win rate, it's like maybe you should consider moving up in stakes. But that's pretty uncommon.
So the first 6 months I started playing here at TCH in Dallas, I thought I had just figured the game out. I ran at about 85% for 6 months, and they weren't huge wins. 3, 4, 5.
I'm the best player in the world.
Yeah, but I mean, I was doubling or tripling my buy-in every time I sat down. 85%. Then I hit that wall.
Yeah, you lose every single session for 2 months.
For a month and a half straight, I felt like I just couldn't win, and I was like, "This is that variance they're talking about."
Yep. Big hand here. Had Danny open raise and Benham 3-bet to 700 and Danny 4-bet to 16.
And we kind of expect the flop to be an ace-king-9 here, don't we? The way Benham's running.
That'd be pretty much the way it goes.
Let's see how Danny fares against the guy that's running good. Ace in the window.
Benham does have the 9 of hearts, so he's kind of forced to continue here against a small bet. It is a 4-bet pot, so if he thinks that Danny's not 4-betting enough, he can go ahead and fold. But generally, these middle pairs with the heart are just going to call and see one.
And Danny puts out kind of a smaller bet, but
yeah, he just lets it go. I'd say in general that's an exploit. You think Danny's not 4-betting enough for that sizing,
right?
Although he did use a small 4-bet sizing, he made it a little over 2x. So he's kind of saying when he's 4-betting, he's doing it with a large portion of his range.
So smart. So smart.
So if you hear them laugh and they're saying, 2 of them said they thought Danny had kings there, So it's just, these players have been playing with each other a long time. They've kind of got each other's games, they think figured out. But anytime you think you've got your opponent figured out, good poker players will throw you for a loop. So.
It's easy to think you've got somebody figured out, but if you really think about how many hands, like say this is the first time you've played with Danny, you're at the table, you've played 60 hands with him so far. Like that's not that many hands. Like, have you seen the way he plays 10s, jacks, 9s, ace queen, pocket 5s all in the same session? Like how many of the hands are actually shown down? And if you're only getting, say, 25, 30 hands per hour, you need to play with somebody 40, 50 hours before you have a good idea what they're doing in a wide variety of spots. It takes a lot to really have somebody somewhat pegged. And even then, you're not going to know how they approach like a overbet turn jam, You're just not going to see those spots yet. It takes a very long time.
And Danny's going to lead out here like he's got the ace, and Safine is thrilled, right? Safine is praying he's got ace-queen.
Bottom 2 here.
Because he's got 2 pair, and these are the situations you want to be in. Unfortunately for him, Danny doesn't have even a draw at this point. He does hit a pair of jacks. He could rep clubs here, but...
And once he turns a little bit of showdown value with the jack, he's going to check back a lot.
Now this is interesting. This is Safine's first act, and you can tell he hates that club.
You want to show a card?
Sometimes he just can't help but smile.
Yeah. And he loses to a lot of 2 pairs now as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, good comment there, Doug. Variance, you got to be able to cope with it, because if you can't handle the variance, you won't be in this game long.
75, such a troll bet. Less than a tenth of the pot. It's kind of interesting because he can actually get value from worse, and he can sometimes entice Danny into bluffing. And if he's got a good read on Danny, he can.
You see Danny reach for the black chips like he was going to make a move there.
Yeah. They call that a bet to induce sizing.
Right.
Bet to get your opponent to bluff so you can snap them off. Although on that texture, he's he's not probably too happy about it.
Something else you notice in this game, I've learned from these higher stakes players too. I try to variance counsel. That's funny. I try to be consistent with my raises, no matter if I've got aces or if I've got 7-9 suited or whatever it is. These guys do that too, right? They're not betting $1,000 under the gun when they've got aces.
Yeah.
When you're at a 1-2 table, it's 1-2. If a guy
1-2, bet my hand strength.
Yeah, bet my hand strength. The players will literally tell you what their hand is. You know, if they bet $40 under the gun or under the gun plus one, they probably have jacks. They don't want to see a flop. You know,
And people will still call them with 7-5 suited.
they will.
I mean, if you're Omega deep and you know exactly what they have and you're trying to outflop them, maybe it could be good, but you don't know exactly what they have.
But yeah, but just because you don't play the stakes that these guys are playing doesn't mean you can't learn from them. Because these guys are, you know, they're good players. Most of them would be dominant on the 1-2 tables just because they're just that much ahead of a lot of the players. But you know, I think there's a lot of guys at the smaller stakes, if they had the bankrolls, could maybe compete. But some of these guys are really top players, and they know how to exploit weakness.
I think there's a lot of players who think if they had the bankrolls, they could
handle
play
this,
it.
yeah.
But that's maybe the case for 10 or 15%. You kind of have to prove yourself at each level, and the strategies change and develop at each level a little bit more. And you have to adapt and learn how to exploit at each level.
Here's Safin in another situation where he's got a pair, and now he's being bluffed.
Yeah. And it can be difficult to structure your ranges on
And he
some of these,
folds.
like on these polarizing sort of boards, 4-to straight, 4-to flush, whenever there's a full house.
Oh, he
trips on the
showed.
board.
Rich Mike shows. He shows the pair of fives, 2 red cards.
It can be very tricky to figure out those spots.
Right.
Like what are your, like, you know, middle strength hands? You can't always have a flush or a straight. You kind of have to figure out how you're going to approach it when you have middle pair or top pair, no kicker.
And I know you do this too, because I do it. And I think I've seen you do it, but Safin did it too. Like when you know you got bluffed or you think you got bluffed.
But it's just like, sometimes you just got to let them have it.
Yeah.
You know?
But if you talk to the player after the hand and tell them what you think they had, a lot of times you'll get them to show.
Yeah.
And you know dang well that's not what they had, but you get them to show their cards. You know,
Yeah.
you don't even have to ask them to show. You just kind of needle a little bit.
Get that extra piece of information.
Yeah. And you get that because sometimes they want to show you. They don't want to. They don't want you to be right, or, you know, about what they had.
Yep.
And that's what, you know, he said, "Oh, you got me, huh?" And sure enough, he showed him. But it's fun too, you know. Some people get offended when people show them a bluff.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I can't believe it. How dare you?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of diamonds here. It's going to be tough to put anything on a flop.
Let's see 3 diamonds for fun. We need an action hand.
Safin is just going to put in a huge raise here. Make it 5x.
And he gets AJ to fold jacks.
Wow. I wouldn't.
That's tough.
I wouldn't fold jacks there. Maybe I'm a fish. I mean, jacks is the 4th best hand ever created.
Right.
I'm generally going to be putting money in the pot.
Yeah. That's tough to fold jacks there, facing that bet. I mean,
And I know for sure Safin has bluffs there. I mean, we just saw him do it with King 10 suited. So jacks is ahead of his range enough that
good night, incognito. We don't know who you are because you're incognito, but good night. Have a great night. Thanks for joining us for a little bit. We still have 130 people watching, so appreciate it. Again, help TCH keep this stream alive. Like, comment, subscribe, all those things. This is a great team that does this production here. You won't find a better stream anywhere. You might find more money on a table somewhere, but you won't find a more professional stream. They really do a good job here.
Danny with the ace-queen. Got to put his hat on. Put that hat on for the extra EV.
150 is the bet.
Danny knows all the tricks in the book as a tournament player. You know, stand up, you know, put on the backpack, throw up the hood. All very subtle influencers there.
He is a tournament crusher.
Oh, action flop here. Ace
We
jack,
asked for
ace
it, did we
queen.
not? We asked for action. Let's hope Safin is the one to fire out.
Safin has a
He's checked.
backdoor straight draw. Somehow is worth 2%.
Got 2 people with trips here.
Ace queen's probably, or Danny's probably going to bet probably like 125 here.
200 is the bet.
JD bets. A little bit on the larger side here for a paired board. Typically, you want to be using 15 to 25% kind of sizing because it's so hard to have a reasonable continuing range that doesn't contain an ace.
just a call. Safin obviously is out with his backdoor pretty much no draw.
Yep.
He would have hit a 7.
And check on the turn.
This pot needs to get bloated.
I imagine after it goes check on the turn, JD is going to opt for a little bit of a larger sizing. No, he's going to go small. Trying to get looked up by some like pocket 8s type hands, I think.
You see this a lot at the lower stakes where guys just call with the ace-queen here because they think that guy
he
could have
it. No.
You know what? If you're going to play that way, stop playing.
Yeah.
You know, get your money in with a hand this strong. If he's got you, he's got you.
He's got to raise
Backdoor
it up here.
clubs are not probably there. I mean,
Raise, playing for 900.
now JD can just flat call here, but
Yep.
he's been raised.
He doesn't have a club in his hand, which he's checking for right now. Trying to see if maybe some backdoor flushes got there.
He's going to just call and realize that he is beat.
Yeah.
Definitely saves some money on with the turn check.
Nice.
But with that small size on the river, he's trying to get called by some middle pairs that called, some pocket 5s, pocket 8s maybe. Maybe entice some bluffs from some of the floats that didn't get there.
Very tricky.
They both kind of played a little bit slower, and you could hear Danny say, "I thought I was getting a Phil Hellmuth trap there." You know? But
Yeah.
I didn't know he had an ace.
he's like, "I didn't know the guy had an ace." If they knew each other had the ace, obviously they're going to be firing a little bit more. We could have seen a much bigger pot.
Yeah.
You and I both know in the smaller streets that's going to be an all-in situation probably there. You know.
Generally, yeah.
I was a little sketched out going in the river.
They're both trying to balance their ranges a little bit.
Right.
Play tricky, and it just worked out for JD and cost Danny a little bit there.
Future equity.
50 straddle.
And Danny's a big tournament player, so he's gonna have a lot more small sizings in his game.
Next time I just do that.
Because in tournaments you can't top off your stack, so it's kind of hard to break out of some of those like stack preservation habits
Right.
if you're not mixing it up equally in the cash and tournament streets. So you saw there, like he 3x'd the river, whereas a lot of cash game players typically 4 or 5x there to balance out their bluffs. So he may cost himself a little bit of money there on the river out of habit.
While he's shuffling, I'm going to put up the graphic again for the tournament that's upcoming this weekend, guys. We have the Independence Day 200K guaranteed prize pool. Join us before the 4th. Obviously, there's going to be some fireworks on the table. We have 8 different flights. It's a $250 buy-in. Day 2 is going to be Monday, July 3rd, starting at 12 p.m. On day 2, the levels are actually going to be 40-minute levels. 12% are going to be in the money, so you can not even make day 2 and be in the money. 8% go to day 2, and it's going to be a big prize pool, guys. So this is one you want to come out to and join us for this July 4th weekend. Back to the action. Perfect timing.
Benham's getting a little frisky here with the 8-5 suited, raising it up in the hijack. He's been running pretty well and winning a lot of pots, so he doesn't mind mixing it up here. Gonna find out some bad news from AJ with the kings. Kings is 3-betting here from the small blind. Most of your range from the small blind generally going to be 3-betting rather than flatting.
And you saw JD lay down the pocket 7s there,
Yep.
facing a raise and a 3-bet.
Very disciplined. You'll see a lot of people opt to cold call the 3-bet and try and set mine.
And you hate it when the guy jams behind.
Yep.
4-bet. And boom, JD would have spiked it.
Mixed players, like, you can tell by looking at
Makes the discipline lay down and hates himself for it.
Yep. You notice the professionalism of JD, though, unlike some of the other streets that we play, you know? No reaction.
Yep, he's not trying to give away any information. If you start, you know, gasping and
now he does
cooing and hawing, you
Right.
can really affect the outcome of the hand. And these guys are playing for a lot of money. So
yeah.
if you folded something that's significant in the hand and you react, it can really mess up the other players.
Absolutely. I mean, when you get up and sigh and hit the table when you're not in the hand and everybody knows what you had,
Yep.
totally changes
I
the
see
dynamic.
it the most in like an all-in situation. Like one player's short stack all-in pre-flop.
Right.
They've got like their card protector on there. The flop comes up, and they just like grab their bag and start to leave.
Right.
And it's like there's a side pot. Like I understand you're frustrated. You know you have no shot now.
Yeah.
But you can just drastically change the results of
Yeah.
that hand.
JD doesn't react at all. He makes a joke after the hand is over, lets the guy know he would have been all in on the flop, you know.
Yeah.
But he makes a disciplined laydown. If you call $900 to set mine every time you have a small pair, you're going to lose a lot more money than you win.
Yeah, if Benham has a hand like ace queen or like pocket jacks or something, and you cold call, he can just squeeze, and you're just going to be in a nightmare spot, out of position to 2 players, not nearly deep enough to be set mining at that point, and you'll probably just have to fold and waste, hundreds of dollars.
Right.
King 10 versus Jack 10 here. Danny's dominated by JD, but it's blind versus blind, so this is actually, in the top third or so of their range here.
I was going to ask for a 10 high flop, but we got close to it. Danny flopped in top 2. JD's probably got to think his 10 is good here, but he checks it over.
That's 225.
Definitely going to see at least a call.
Can we ask for a 10 on the turn? Is that fair? We don't get it. We get the 8 of clubs.
Bit of an action killer for both players.
It really
Danny's
is.
still feeling pretty good with his Jack 10, but it's going to be hard to get value from too much worse now.
I'm with Danny here. I feel like I have to bet. If the guy's got a 9, he's got a 9, but I'm going to continue.
I'd still bet. I would have bet maybe a little bit smaller, but 500 still completely fine. Betting a little over half pot.
JD hadn't gotten an out of line yet tonight. Decided that was not a spot he wanted to, but probably was not going to work.
You probably want to have like a queen in your hand where you can potentially draw out if they do have the straight.
Right.
Be a little bit better of a candidate. You can't always have the ideal cards to bluff catch with, but
and what's Danny really bluffing with there? So
yeah,
tough to.
You might, and you sort of block the thinnest value bets you might have in that spot, like King Jack, when you have the king. And if you hit your king, is it even a clean out?
Right.
Like, it gets a little tricky.
We're up to 160 on the viewers. That's awesome.
Glad to see you all guys in here.
We're on hand 68. We've had a good game going so far. We've got chips flying. One player just getting hit by the deck and playing really well on top of that. But everybody else is still fighting.
Everybody's trying to find a spot where they can get involved and see if they can make something happen here.
4 would be a nice turn.
J-Rock's going to complete out of the straddle.
I think there was a 3 on the flop, but there it is. 3 of clubs is on the flop.
One of the most perfect turns for J-Rock here. Definitely a good card to barrel on.
Absolutely.
At that, he opted to check. I would have liked to have seen a barrel.
Yeah, if you're going to lead out on that flop, that's
like the nut turn card. You're looking for an ace or a 6, maybe a 5 or 2 is your best second choice. And now that you haven't realized your equity, it's like, are you going to bluff by leading now? It gets a little awkward to play.
No, I don't have any. Oh, ship it. Oh, you have my.
J-Rock said pair. He said, wait, I don't have any pairs.
Wow.
Straight flush.
Thin value, baby. Thin value.
Hey, pocket 4 is on that board if you can win $740. That's a nice win. You're doing all right.
That's at least a PS5 there.
I'm adding 2,000.
Can you even get those nowadays? Has it got any easier?
I'm not sure. The last gaming system I owned was a Sega Genesis, so not only am I aging myself, but I'm telling you, I'm just not a gamer.
Yeah, you're a little bit behind the curve there.
I went to college and everybody had the Nintendo 64, so we just played it on other people's systems. And after that, I didn't really play a whole lot. But once they started getting, trigger controls and 9,000 buttons, I like the controller that had the 2 or 3 buttons. Those were my games.
Little arcade ones with you just slap the 2 buttons.
Right.
That's it.
I think the Sega Genesis controller had 3 buttons, A, B, and C. That was enough. It was one step up from the Nintendo that had the A and B only,
Re-raised to 450.
Danny ace queen again. The parking lot hand, as they say.
Tilting me, so I'm gonna call.
We actually had a WSOP video game on N64, I think,
Really?
that I used to play when I was living in Denton. You know, who knows how they worked the cards and the variants, but you could play tournaments and cash games. It was pretty fun.
Playing the game now. 777. I check.
They're turning one card
They
over.
both turned one card up.
Neither card is relevant
Yeah,
yet.
so check queens there, buddy.
Board pairs.
Safine's way ahead with his 10.
I have a 7. 7 for 7.
He says I have a 7.
Pristine logic there.
Danny gonna sniff that out. A lot of times people talk.
What combos of 7 of spades?
That means something else. You know that they've got
The old 7-6 of
7, 6 of spades. See,
Yep,
The
7,
6 of spades is out there though, Danny. PlayStation original for Jedi Matt. Yeah, Madden. Yeah, the Madden games are the best. Like those were my games. The football games, the baseball games.
I remember playing Frogger on the Sega Genesis.
They had
Might not have been the Genesis. It was a Sega something.
The original Sega, maybe. I had Frogger on Atari. I'm sure Jedi did as well.
Got the call with the ace high. Now that jack's a pretty scary card with the queen up. Queen jack, very, very likely hand here. I don't know if the queen jack necessarily finds the.
So he drops it down from 700 to 225.
Now he's trying to get called by ace queen exactly. But he sees the queen. He knows Danny's probably floating with something like ace queen. Much more likely than queen jack.
Or king queen, right? Yeah, two overs.
I'm not gonna take
Queen 10 probably would have called a lot quicker on the turn.
Yeah, Danny has to call. It's 200 into 2600. Right? Because by chance he's good. By chance he's good with that hand. He gets a huge pot. So
he only needs to be good like 9% of the time or something.
And Safine knows that. If he gets raised, he folds. No big deal.
Yeah.
He loses $200. That's fun to watch guys play at each other like that. These guys know each other well too.
So it's 15% each.
That's true. We are 2-0.
Danny's still up $1,000 though.
Right, you got 3 people now that are up. You know, actually 4 that are up almost 1,000. So that's definitely better for the game when more people are winning because you'll see some more chips
JT
flying.
has a separate stat now. It's not showing his previous losses. Shows him as a new player now here in the graphic. Safine with ace-9 suited. No $50 straddle this hand, so it's going to raise it up to 75, 3x the third blind. And JD with king's going to 3x it.
Every time JT's had a hand tonight, unfortunately, there's just been somebody that's had the one better. He's got a nice pair here. You know, normally you're probably good with a pocket pair, but he's going to have to flop something big here.
King's way ahead. JT opted for a cold call. Unfortunately, doesn't hit his set.
Wow. J Timmy, I don't know how you pronounce your sign on there, but yeah, he said they sold their Atari in games back in the 90s for $125.
Probably worth more than that now.
Yeah.
A lot of those classic gaming systems really, you can really sell. There's good memorabilia around them, especially like the Mario stuff.
I got a good buddy whose mother saved every toy of his. Yeah, some of it in boxes still.
It's one that's probably worth thousands.
Yeah, he's been on online just selling that stuff. So a lot of old games have a lot of value.
Means pretty much has to see one here once he makes his pair. Beat some ace king, ace jack type hands. Also ahead of some jack 9, which might have found some bets.
Right.
To even beat some of your opponent's value range.
A lot of people will shut down here too, but you got to get value when you got a big hand like kings here.
Yeah, I'd
you
like
want to
to
get
see-
called by any queen, any 9.
I'd like to see at least a $600 bet. 6 to 800.
He's going to go a little bigger.
He's going to go large.
1150. And that throws up the red flags here. Safine's like, does he really have it? Or did he miss with ace king?
It is a little bit more difficult on the paired boards like this to construct your range, but he's opting for a little bit larger sizing to balance out some of the bluffs that want to maximize that fold equity. And it's unfortunate that he has a king of hearts in his hand. kind of want your... actually, it's probably better for him to have the King of Hearts. Because it means it weights Safine a little bit more towards his pairs.
It's a good laydown. There's some times where you can be sticky and be good there, but it's a big bet to call with just third pair.
He thinks JD is going to be a little bit more value heavy there.
Danny, maybe you should show a card next time, you know?
Neither one of JD's cards he wanted to show, right? You don't want to show the king because you could easily have king jack, you know.
Kind of easy, or
king queen.
Kind of interesting, I mean, to think about the student interaction in that exact spot. It's probably better for JD. I think more about it. I think it's probably better for JD to have the King of Hearts because it's less likely his opponent has a draw that can just fold. It hasn't made a pair.
Yeah, and this would be an overpay anyway. I only lost.
Yeah, JT's stats are definitely not completely accurate because he's come back to the game after a
hiatus.
Yeah, taking a few hands off, and going to get some more chips. But
he's going to play 7-5 suited.
Again, I've seen a lot of huge pots won with the 7-5 here recently. You know, you get that perfect gin flop, the 4-6-8.
Yep.
Somebody has tens or something over. You know, they're just going to pay you off.
You definitely prefer to have a hand like 5-6 suited or 6-7 suited when you're raising from early position. But if you want to mix it up, it's not a bad candidate to do so. You're not going to have very much interactivity with your opponent's continuing ranges. You're going to have a bit of deception. But in a lineup like this, you are going to get 3-bet at a decent frequency when people flat in between. So you do have to be careful.
And that's a good flop for the 7-5.
Yep. He's not the best open-ender because when the 9 comes, it's going to be a little tricky to play. But definitely playable. Danny with the top set.
Let's see how Danny plays this too, because there's a lot of. It's a very draw-heavy board.
Yeah, and he has players behind. He doesn't necessarily want to bet them out of the pot.
He's just going to elect to call.
Yep. And Dunn and Safine, both with a pair of 8s, are going to be able to get away from it.
Good for them.
7-5 just makes it straight away.
7-5, just first pitch.
Danny still has a lot of equity, though. He's got 21%.
And again, 7-5 is not a hand that somebody usually is going to open with. So is that really the hand he's putting him on here?
Yeah, he's going to mostly have him on some club flush draws and some backdoor diamond draws, like Queen Jack of Diamonds. Might find a bet here.
And he bets pot.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Danny just rip it here.
I wouldn't either.
Most of the time, he's going to be up against some flush draws.
He's got him covered by a little bit. He's definitely looking to put in a raise here.
Most of the time, AJ's going to have Ace-5 of clubs or Queen Jack of clubs, Queen Jack of diamonds, King Queen of clubs, Ace King of clubs, Ace King of diamonds. More that kind of range than anything like 5-7.
Again, if he flopped it with 7-9, you know, you're saying good for you. But that 4, Danny is not thinking is a.
And AJ can even value bet some hands like pocket 8s that find a raise under the gun.
So you see, did you hear AJ sigh there?
Yeah. His fake sigh. Oh, what do I do?
Even at the big stakes. I mean, this is just part of the game. The acting is part of the game. He's sitting here with pretty much the second nuts here. Well, Doug R., did you hit a lot of turns like this in the 90s with your 7-5?
Yeah, the 4 is just the gin card, especially when it puts the second draw on the board. 9's not so bad, but the 4 is 100 times better.
And we've seen AJ in the previous streams just rip it with big draws and stuff, so Danny's not going anywhere.
No, he's gonna size snap call if AJ jams here. I think this is a little bit too long of a tank.
Right. This long of a tank and then a jam.
You're not like making your opponents call more often the longer you tank.
He obviously doesn't know. You know, nobody knows the strength of Danny's hand here either. I mean,
yeah.
If he knew it, he would have already jammed.
In general, like decisions don't take longer than 30 seconds, maybe a minute. So you don't need to sit here in Hollywood for an eternity.
I mean, he's getting the award here, is he not?
Yeah.
He said I'm all in, and Danny snaps, never folding.
He hates it, but he's like.
Once or twice.
Your call.
Did you hear him ask him? He said, "Tell me you don't have 7-9."
Once or twice.
Twice.
They're gonna run it
Great
twice.
negotiation there. Great.
Biggest pot of the night here, 14K.
This is big pot here.
5-7.
5-7.
King.
Nice hand, nice hand.
Danny throwing in the nice hand before the card comes out.
He's got to stand up if he wants to hit the boat.
Forward.
Yeah. Very unfortunate there for Danny. Runs into it. Nothing you can do at all.
Nothing you can do. Never folding top set there. You can't. The guy opens with 7-5. You just can't put him on that hand.
I love the way he just brings it out like, yep, I planned for this.
You usually have to stack yourself.
And Danny just gets out another stack.
10K or so probably.
Yeah, another band there.
How much is it?
Right on the turn. The offsuit variety as well.
Could be 5, but
Right. And a pot that big, I mean, AJ even asked him, "Tell me you don't have the 7-9 here," you know?
yep.
That was my biggest hand last night. I had 2-3 of clubs, face it a race pre. I flopped the 6 high straight, 55 on the flop, 4 callers, you know. Turn is a brick. The guy fires like 200 in there. I jam. And thank God I did, because I got 2 other people off of the gut shot and the 7 hits on the river.
Yep.
So, you know, you never feel comfortable when you flop the bottom set or a bottom straight like that.
Yeah, it's always vulnerable, but you need it to be vulnerable to get action.
You do.
If it's completely invulnerable hand, like nothing calls you.
Right. But you can't play it slow. You just got to get the money in.
Yep.
And had I just flatted, the guy may have hit his, 9 high straight. He had the gutter ball to the nuts.
And it's not like you can get away from it.
No.
Oh yeah, when someone asks you what set you have,
All right, JT. One of
JT's
his
got a
10s
shot.
is gone, but
Probably the best hand he's had all night.
that's the wrong question, buddy. That is definitely the wrong question.
I thought that was a bet. He was going
No,
to ship
he
somebody some
was
money.
trying to hand chips to Danny. And the dealer stopped him like, hey, this is going to confuse everybody.
Is this not what we've seen all night
Yeah.
for JT?
Gets a good hand and gets immediately outpipped.
Outpipped. Well, somebody's got him.
And on his stack size, he may opt to just rip it.
2.3. Yeah, he's up against the big stack, who clearly might be trying to bully him with an ace-king suited.
He just goes all in. And he's going to find out the bad news. 4-1 dog here.
One of the 10s is gone. One of the jacks is gone. Can he get lucky? 7, 8, 9. Well, it's
Still
a
make
back
8,
door.
9.
Got to hit a 10.
Very,
Man, that's
very,
just
very tough night for
not JT's night. We've all been there. He's had some great hands.
I wasn't here.
He's I think he's done for the night. But JT, thanks for coming out. Just wasn't your night, but I guarantee you'll probably hit it the next time. But
I have, but,
Yeah, Benham, again, just sun running.
sun running is what they call it. I mean, he just hitting flops, getting bigger hands than his opponents.
Yeah, what is that?
I think he's lost 1 or 2 pots and
Yeah.
hasn't faced
And
an
they've been
all in.
very small pots. He has
He
biggest pot he
faced,
lost
he
by
faced that one
$1,000.
all in and he made a really good fold early on, but he would have lost 3 or 4K with that one. But he decided to fold correctly, and so he's making good decisions too. It's not just about the cards sometimes too. There's some hands that he could have got in that got him in trouble. But what a night for Benham so far, up 11.7K.
Yeah, I think you play better when you're on silver.
Casual Tuesday night.
Anybody else make 12K today? If you did, God bless you.
Tough set. Name a better combo, you know?
that was not.
Yeah, that's so sick. How do you ask someone what set you
We're on
have?
hand 73.
I don't think I owe you anything, actually. 500,
Ace 6 off folds the cutoff. It's a bit interesting. It is one of the worst aces, but it's still an open in the cutoff.
Right. Thank you.
You don't have too many players to go through. You can make an argument in a 3-blind game that you lean towards the fold, but I'd still like to see an open.
The Queen 3 versus the 10-5. We're going to go to a flop.
Give me my $100.
AJ's going to get the best of it. Going to lead out for 50.
JD just loves his life here, of course. It's like, oh, look at all my equity.
You're still tilted, I was calling you. Maybe even raised.
JD hasn't had too much going for him.
Yeah, JD's one of the guys that if you go back through those previous streams, I mean, he just crushes people on this stream. I know
Not
he runs
2K
good
tonight,
off.
but
Yeah, I know he runs good off stream as well, but he's normally one of the guys that just comes in here and
I'll check them out real quick.
just crushes it.
let's see if that 6 seats gets filled.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see a surprise guest player come in now that JT's decided to call it a night.
They have been spreading 5, 10, and a quarter at the Las Colinas location fairly often, so maybe one of those players will come over here if they hear seats open.
Yeah, that's the nice thing. These clubs are close together, the TCH Dallas and TCH Las Colinas. So if the game that you really want to play is maybe not going or full, you can go to the other club and drive there in just under probably 10 minutes.
10, 15 minutes.
10, 15 minutes.
Wow.
And you can see on the Poker Atlas app what games are running at each location. You can put yourself on the list. You'll be put on the list for an hour.
Right.
And as soon as you get there, you keep the spot where where the app puts you.
Yeah, we always suggest that you sign in on that Poker Atlas app ahead of time because these clubs do get busy, especially on the weekends, and you want to make sure that you get yourself on that list early, and that way, if it takes you an hour to get there, you've got just right at an hour. If you get there before that, your seat might be ready for you. You may not have to wait at all.
You can also check out all the tournament structures and everything through that app as well.
There's Mr. Chris Cashman in the stream. Chris is another guy that's, man, his game is just skyrocketed and does well on these streams. And see him playing at TCH Dallas and over there at TCH Las Colinas. But Chris, this is Eric Van Loosen here in the booth, man. Though, always love watching you play, brother. Love seeing a young guy in his game take off.
They can here. Looks like they're going to go 4 ways.
Scared 3 of them in, 4 players.
Here we go.
Nope, just 3.
Jack 9-5, 2 clubs. Sevens are still in the lead.
Not a bad flop here for Dunn. Bottom pair and some backdoor draws. You make 2 pair. The club comes in, slows him down a little bit, but
JJ's got kind of a combo draw here, right? He's got a straight draw, 6.
It's got a draw to make some hands and some bluff opportunity with a key blocker there.
Hope everybody heard the word that Zach just used, bluff, opportunity.
Yeah.
I love it. Opportunity.
Sure it's in the dictionary.
I'm always looking for bluff opportunities, but I swear I bluff into the nuts. So if you've got quads, let me go ahead and just jam right into you.
Oh, that's the best.
Isn't it? Such a good feeling.
It's like, oh, this is a sweet spot for a bluff. No one's going to find a bluff here. You rip, and then they're just like, snap.
I like it when they say, I win. They don't even turn their cards over. They just say, I win.
Yeah.
You're just like, which is it? Is it the straight flush this time? Is it the quads?
Yep. That's what I say. Especially like, I'll like check on the river. It checks back. I'm like, yeah, I win. Just instantly.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I was trapping you.
So we will have a new player coming in. Curious to see who it is.
It's 50, I thought it was 55.
50 and then Super Senior 60 plus.
Yeah, that's good.
Wow. Those games are probably so soft. I don't even
I don't know, actually.
Really?
A lot of the Gen X.
Dude.
We play, man.
Bro, I saw this one guy.
They're all talking about their generations. Can I do a dad joke? While they're waiting, can I do a dad joke? Have you heard the joke about what generation was Forrest Gump?
There were a lot of old man crazies in this tournament.
Don't think I've heard that one.
Gen A?
Gen A.
Gen A. It's so bad. It's so good.
That took me a second.
Oh, yeah. Gen A.
He's just not here yet, so.
Sorry for all y'all who had to hear that terrible joke. But and if you haven't seen Forrest Gump, where are you? Where have you been?
I honestly didn't see Forrest Gump until I was in my 20s. I was like,
so much.
I was like, how have you not seen that movie?
Right.
And I ran cross country and track in high school, so people would always yell it out, like when I was running on the road. They'd be like, oh, Run, Forrest, run! I
Right.
was like, what the hell are they talking about? No clue.
It's one of the most brilliant movies. Just, I mean, the character itself in Forrest Gump, but how much history they put into that movie.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's no poker in that movie that I remember, but all the wars and all the stuff that was going on in the world at that time, and just everything was changing in the 60s and early 70s. So that was just a really cool movie. But
Nines and ace jack.
We raised to 700.
AJ's gonna bluff it up with here at the ace-7 off.
if Benham flops a set of nines here, do we just call it quits? I mean,
yeah, who's dealing off the bottom?
yeah.
Did you try a 75 or 50? Oh, that's
We make jokes about the ace up the sleeve. I've actually been at a poker room before where a guy had an ace fall out of his sleeve, but it was the same color as the deck. But he just said it was a good luck charm. But I swear, the game stopped and everybody looked over and said, "What the heck is that?" And we looked, and thank God it was obviously a different type of cards, but same color. It scared the heck out of all of us.
That's really, really sketchy.
Yeah, it was actually a few months ago at a different place I was out of town playing at a club. Lord have mercy. Just fell out of his sleeve.
Not a bad flop here for nines.
Flopping good. Running good, flopping good.
Just pretty much has to continue here. No choice, really.
Not really a scare card either, you know. I mean, he's going to check it. Let AJ keep firing.
Some hands, some ace jack of spades, queen jack of spades, king jack of spades can make top pair, but it's not that many combos actually.
Does anybody know what AJ's wearing on his hat? That's the question of the hour. Is it Massachusetts? Is it New Jersey? Is it a lightning bolt? I have not been able to figure out what is on his hat, but I'll have to go ask him if he's still out there.
AJ's got the heart though here. He's gonna double barrel. He says I 3-bet pre, and I've got a strong range. I'm just gonna bet here.
And having the 7, I don't think is very relevant here. You're not having a straight. You could rep it, but I don't think the guy who's calling you with either a 10 or a jack is ever folding. So, yeah, he gives up.
It's nice that he doesn't have a spade in his hand, meaning it's more likely Benham could be calling with a flush draw, so he can get some draws that miss to fold. But he recognized Benham is going to have a fairly solid hand here after he calls a 3-bet and calls 2 streets. He's just not confident that he's going to get enough folds to
It's
justify
funny. They're kind of laughing. You know, Benham drags another pot, and they're just like, you know, hey, what do? You just give him another pot.
Yep, just $16,000.
They really are.
Okay, thanks, Cashman. It's a Texas Cars hat. That's his car dealership. So if you're in the market for a car, Mr. AJ has a dealership.
No problem.
I might be in the market for a truck myself, so might have to reach out to him. But remember we talked about that earlier.
Overpriced nowadays.
They are overpriced. I sold my Ram with 200,000 miles on it for $15,000.
I was literally about to say what, like 15K.
It was a 2014. I sold it last year. Wish I still
could have
had
sold
it.
to Benham. He could just give you chips off the table.
Right? Yeah, chips off the table. Benham, you want to buy a truck with that stack of yours?
It's like, oh yeah.
But we were talking about earlier. I mean, another opportunity. He's got a car dealership. There's people in here who run insurance businesses. A lot of car guys out there, but a lot of people that can help you out networking. And you're looking for a job, you're looking for a new roof, you're looking for some lights on your house.
A lot of roofers too. Hail
Yeah.
damage repairs.
Yep.
Some collision repair guys.
Yeah, super nice.
Oh, I know this guy. What is his name?
Don't say it. I know it too. What's his name? Oh, I'm lost. He hadn't been on the stream in a while.
Yeah. I don't know why I can't think of his name.
You deal to him, dang it. You should know his name.
I should know it.
They should probably work on it. I'm going to buy 4,000 more.
He sits there because he has to be close to
Yeah,
the cards.
his eyes aren't the best.
Just inherent respect.
Is it J, maybe J something? Jamal? Not this.
1,000, 2,023, 24, 25, 26.
Cashman's probably about to tell us on the dang screen before we get it.
Yeah.
It's on the tip of my tongue, though.
We raised and marked.
I don't get him confused with anybody, but I'm like remembering all the streams that he was on with, is it Galoo? Like those streams? No, that's not his name, but like they were always on the stream together. And I'm like, what's his name?
Yep.
We're about to find out. Jafar.
Jafar. I knew. I was like, it's a J. I was like,
There's Cashman. He beat us to it. Yeah.
I was like, it's a J something.
He is a legend and a nice guy.
Need one more free game.
Tips well. plays well.
He's got some. He's always got some bluffs. He's gonna find somewhere. Crazy hands.
They're legal in Vegas, right?
Maybe you can tell us what this stat is, Cashman. I'm not familiar with what AFQ is.
You're shouting like if you feel it.
I know all the went to Showdown and VPIP, PFR. Don't think I've ever seen AFQ. It's something we put up here on the stream.
Yeah, if you know Cashman or anybody, throw that out, the AFQ stat.
My best guess was all in win frequency or something like that, but I've never seen that stat tracked on like any HUDs that people use.
Always first to quit.
Yeah,
That guy's
you
always
look at the
first to
percentages,
quit.
everybody has like similar percentages.
Right.
So I think it's like percent of all-ins that they've won or something.
And you look over Benham now, I mean, obviously we've known the numbers, but you can see just the stack size just growing and growing.
Yeah, 20K when they started with 4 or 5K stacks.
Right. Hell of a night for him.
Do I have to go buy it or they come and get it?
Aggression
frequency.
Gotcha. I remember, Chris, I played one of the tournaments over at the Choctaw Casino, one of the big WPTs, and they were ragging on me. I was on the stream, and they were ragging on me because my aggression frequency was not high enough, and my family was watching, and they said, "You need to really." They don't know anything about poker. They were like, "You need to up your aggression frequency."
That's just like a very kind of arbitrary metric. I feel like how do you measure that? What qualifies percentage of actions that are not a check?
Yeah.
It's been a few minutes. You know what? Let's pump it up.
Nice flop here for guess who?
Yeah.
Open ender.
Pretty good for King 9 suited, that's for sure.
Flush draw.
2 pair for AJ though.
Yeah, we could see some fireworks here. The flush comes first pitch.
Not worst card for AJ.
He just drops $100 in there.
Gonna have to continue.
Anybody else need chips or no?
If I were a betting man, we're not about to see an 8 or a 6. He's just running too good.
We got it.
No club.
Yeah.
But like, how does an action like a check raise affect that stat?
A check raise, yeah.
Yeah, it's, like that's obviously an aggressive action, but you have to check first. Like, so it doesn't necessarily tell you that someone's passive if they have a low aggression frequency, if they're going for check raises and it checks through.
I don't know that he calls here. He can't because the board's now paired. Any jack beats him. Yeah, good fold.
Yeah.
Model employee, look at that.
You say good fold. I had it again, of course. Monster.
I don't know.
I give up. I'm not gonna try to take it.
He says, "I give up."
I wave the flag.
I give you.
That kind of happens a lot. Like, I'll be in a tournament sometimes and I'll start to chip up, and then nobody will play hands against me, and I'm like, I can't win all of them.
Right.
Like,
We basically just bought him into it.
You remember the tournament that we played in that you ran deep in, and I cracked your aces with 8-9 suited.
oh yeah,
Because we were on table 9 and
Yeah,
I
you
was
were
in
short
seat 8.
stacked.
I was short stacked. But then you ran up your stack anyway. I go to another table. First hand I play, I get my aces cracked. So it's just the way the game goes. But,
that was what, the $800 mystery bounty.
Yeah.
Both of them before the hand and
Show
then
me
pull
your
it back.
cards and I'll do it.
Don't scroll next.
Yeah, I ended up making like 3K in that tournament.
I don't think that was the mystery bounty one because I ran deep in that one.
Yeah,
It was another one that I think you final tabled.
Oh, okay.
Maybe your most recent one. The mystery bounty
Yeah, that might
one.
have been my second place on
Right.
Saturday.
The mystery bounty one, oddly enough, I didn't get a single bounty, but I leveled up from the $1,500 min cash to like $3,700 by just surviving.
Yep.
And Mr. Danny Marks knocked me out. We were on table 20. There's an open ender for Safine, but yeah, Danny jams with ace-9 offsuit, and I can't wait to call him with ace-queen. And we flip over our cards, and he looks at me and goes, "I'm sorry," because he knew it, and he hit a 9 on me on the river, knocked me out.
Yep.
But I finished, I think, 41st. He finished like 36th. But it was still a good tournament.
Why are the mixing players always laughing?
He's such a good sport, but he looked at me and he said, "I'm sorry." Like he just knew he was going to hit that 9 on me.
I got 21st in that tournament.
What did you say? Jafar was going to come in with some good bluffs. He wins a hand here.
Yep, 10 high on the ace high board. The only way you're gonna win there.
Nick game while we can.
What time is it?
It's almost 9.
It's almost time what? 9?
Yeah.
We could do it one more time. You guys want to play the Nick game? We got like 45 minutes.
Benham's
One more
trying
Nick
to
game.
pass out the net game buttons.
Jafar, do you know the Nick game?
I get stacked. I got no more
Yes?
cash.
It's just like a stand-up.
Yeah.
Jafar said it's just like the stand-up game. But us guys over 40 don't want to stand up.
Yeah.
100 per person.
I don't want to stand up. I'm 28.
You're 28, you don't want to stand up. Yeah, it's really not fun. Whoever thought of that is... I like to stand up to stretch, but I'm not going to stand up for 45 minutes.
Literally the only reason I stand up.
Well, you have to bend over and pick up your cards and chips. It's just not comfortable. I get it, that's the point, but
Just win the hand.
the knit game is just as much action.
Super
You
easy.
gotta reach into your pockets.
Well, you guys are gonna have to lend me $800 if I bust, because I am out of
If you
cash.
bust, you gotta reach in your pockets. Yes. Just saying that out loud, make sure everyone knows.
Are they doing off-the-table cash, I guess, to pay for the knit game instead
Maybe,
of chips?
but they're basically saying like if you bust out of the game, you still owe it.
Oh, okay.
So they're saying like if you want to participate, make sure that you can actually pay it
I
out.
haven't even looked at my hand.
I'm making the decision.
I gotta open. Mandatory open.
Mandatory open, Safine says, with 8-5 of diamonds. That's about as mandatory as it gets.
Yep. 8-5's a premium.
When you flop 6, 7, 9 of diamonds.
You know, when you have like King 4, you can. Oh, I thought it was Ace King, but
It's almost a 6, 7, 9. I told you though. Huh.
it's hard to pretend your 8-5 is anything but.
And a 9. And a 9 is going to be the worst card ever, right?
Yeah.
AJ's going to have him smoked. Still 25% equity for AJ with just Jack high, but he's got the draws and the 2 overs.
Check behind. Interesting.
Do not put a heart out there.
And the black deuce we talk about. Just the action card.
Have you played those?
When you have a hand like Safine's with showdown value, just that's great to see. You know the guy doesn't have an ace.
I don't believe you.
You're gonna see it anyways.
He's talking him into folding. Yeah.
Good.
Easy as that. Get rid of your nip button instantly.
Right? You win the hand and you save yourself the $700 just right off the bat.
J-Rock second place here with 3K, which is normally nothing to sneeze at, but
Right.
Benham's got 5 times more winnings.
And even for a guy like Dunn, he's pretty much even. He's up $85, but I tell you what, sometimes you leave when you're just not running good. If you're even or up $85, that's a win.
Stuck a lot.
Yep.
I don't know if AJ's stuck or not, but he's still tilted, I think.
He's winning all the money. That's all he needs to know.
I am tilted, but I'm not stuck.
Far's going to call. Jack 8 suited.
And Jack. Pop it up 275.
Am I the only one stuck right now?
There's no way that's true. So he says.
I'm stuck. I'm actually
0% chance you're the only one stuck.
Have we seen pair over pair yet tonight?
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen 10s over jacks.
Constantly.
900, he bumps it up to. And Dunn was in this predicament earlier. Remember, he was against what, aces?
Yeah, I think
And it
so.
was Benham.
All I hear is
It was
from my
Benham's
friends
first really
that
big
are
double
poorly. I
up.
don't care about it, I do.
Yeah, and then we had kings and aces and
Right.
8s, jacks and 10s, and 10s and 9s.
Dunn's been in this spot before. He's going to call, but he's in trouble.
I don't have anymore.
Here we go.
Both players
Yeah.
absolutely loving this flop.
Both players just loving this. I 3-bet the guy, he calls, and now we have an ace and a king on the board.
JD's going to small c-bet probably his entire range here.
575.
And done having the jack of diamonds and knowing that JD's c-betting quarter pot pretty much his entire range, just has to continue.
But not yet. No.
He's going to fold his, pocket sixes and things like that. But Jack's is a little bit too strong. Backdoor straight, backdoor flush.
And you get called, after an ace and a king hit when you've got queens. Do you shut down or do you keep firing? This is a situation that we've all been in.
I think they will.
It does get a little tricky here.
There's probably like a lot of
JD
legal
figures
things
he's
they
going to be up
gotta make sure
against a hand
that-
exactly like Dunn has, or a hand like Ace 10,
Yeah.
This is great.
Ace Jack, and he just has very little equity against.
Right.
You can consider tripling off a hand like this
Right.
as a bluff, but you also have some small amount of showdown if it goes check check on the turn.
Great. Look at this. Is great. Dunn smelled weakness. put it out there, wins the hand, and gets rid of his net button, and gets a better hand to fold. That's the beauty of this game is you don't always have to have the best hand, and he's dragging in a $4,000 pot with third pair. That's awesome. Good for him, man. Good hand.
I think
It's a bit better to triple off some of the smaller pairs that have less showdown value.
Right.
And you want to unblock the diamonds so that your opponent's float have the diamond. You can bluff them out of it. But yeah, it gets a little tricky on in these 3 and 4 bet pots, on these ace and king high boards, like how you construct your whole range. One of those spots that's really important to study as you go up in stakes, because it just happens a lot. Every pot you play is, typically going to be a 3-bet, 4-bet pot rather than single raise pots we're used to at our 1-2 and 1-3 games.
Thing was, is what set do you have? That is legendary. That was so pure. What set do you have? As if it matters.
I wish I knew the hand they were talking about.
Got 'em all beat.
Danny and Safine are talking about a hand, laughing at each other. Like I said, these guys play together all the time and kind of know each other's moves. The competition is real.
Yep. The game dynamic is going to change a little bit. Jafar likes to limp a lot of his range, and he'll complete even some 3-bets with a lot of a hand as strong as 10s. He limps.
Yeah,
so
you
you'll
see
start
that
to get some interesting dynamics develop here with these aggressive players.
Just called for 50, and you got JD popping it up to 1100.
Ace-4 suited is a reasonable hand to do it with.
Let's see what Jafar does.
Unfortunately, he's going to run into the top of some players' ranges here. Jafar's just going to come along.
Just comes along.
And this is just going to throw everyone for a loop. It's not something you typically see at these stakes.
Right. A limp. You'll see the limp jam, right? With the
yeah.
Not at these stakes usually, but you'll see the limp jam a lot with the ace-king suited. And, yeah, good point, Chris.
JD, your start.
Yeah, that diamond on the turn was definitely a great card there for Dunn. And here's Jafar just saying, I got it. Get out of my pot. JD still with the backdoor equity here. Let's go.
He just recognizes Jafar is always going to have a hand exactly like he has here.
Right.
And the 5-7-8 board is, if he doesn't have a set, he's got pocket 9s or 10s basically, the way he played it.
You learned the game, Jafar. You picked it up quick.
They're saying you picked up the net game real quick, Jafar.
Yeah,
that's fun.
It's a pretty sizable pot too.
It's good
Not
reputation.
not a bad deal.
No, up to you.
This is
50's up to you.
I can't win 2 high man roll. I know that's
Oh, they're saying the 50, the double straddle was up to him. Yeah, not everybody's doing it. Not a mandatory.
Jay would have found a way to lose with him.
Just over 3 hours in, and we still got 155 people viewing. Thanks for hanging around, guys. Feel free to tell us how we're doing or who you're rooting for in the chat.
Oh no, no nit button. How do I open this hand?
2 players.
I can't play any hands without the nip button.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for him. Then you only professional.
Danny's getting creative here.
50.
Safine bets 50.
Wow, that bad?
Hard to continue with the deuce 3.
What do they call that one? The dirty diaper.
Right. I actually didn't watch the stream where the guy was playing in the World Series of Poker, I think it was, and he was playing that hand, and he won some hands with it that created that name. But I guess there's the clean diaper if it's suited now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I honestly ever really played it and won any substantial pot other than where I was forced to, like out of a straddle or something.
Right.
Obviously, I've played 7 deuce a few times when I didn't need to, just to own somebody and show it down.
Well, to be able to play it several times in a tournament and to run that good, to win hands with it, I don't know if he was bluffing with it or not. I probably need to go back and look at that just to know the history of the dirty diaper. But that was, that was the hand before the Robbie that, was so popular. Everybody was talking about the dirty diaper, and then the Robbie hand came around, which I still refuse to call that hand the Robbie. It's the spare tire, right?
Yeah, the Jack 4.
The Jack 4,
No,
yeah.
no. You heard of it? Yeah. Hey.
Got a piece for both players here.
Equity for both. JD says I'm not a quitter. He's going to bet. Dunn's going to call him.
I see a diamond here. Nope.
Another-
Got her at least. For JD. All of his 2 pair outs as well. His king is going to give Dunn a straight, however.
And he didn't get any new equity with the diamond, so he's definitely looking to
make it to a showdown. Might just give up here. Just peel once more. Almost certainly fine.
Oh, there it is. You know, it's easy probably to get away from that hand, but you're going to call a small bet here. It's a tough card.
With the hearts coming in and the 4-liner.
Right.
Not blocking either. It's very frustrating, but
the net game's going on. You might feel like, hey, let me make this call here to get rid of my button.
About half pot here. Trying to get looked up by some 2 pairs.
JD is not afraid to look you up light either, but I mean, he's got 2 pair.
Bit of a value-y sizing.
We haven't seen JD get out of line yet. Could this be a spot?
A lot of hands get there. Jack 10, 9, 10, Queen 10, hearts.
Let it go. Good play.
There's enough of the turn bluffing range that gets there that it's kind of frustrating. You can let it go, I think.
Dunn had already gotten rid of his button. He doesn't have to show JD, but he had the straight.
Probably want to have the Queen of Hearts or Jack of Hearts in your hand to make some of your hero calls with.
Look at the game even and out. We've got 5 people now who are winners of over $1,000. So it is possible for half the table to win money in a game. At one point, we had 6 losers. So the game's changed a little bit, but you still see, I mean, how much ahead of everybody else. Venom is just absolutely crushing it, making a name for himself tonight. I know he's been on the stream before. I don't remember any significant runs, but this is a stream that he's just absolutely dominated. Fun to see somebody have success like that, you know.
She's even better in this. Gary Russell.
It's fun to see as long as it's not me getting stacked.
Right.
The only time I've ever been happy getting stacked is whenever it was like the college kid who was obviously playing with his rent money.
Right.
I'm like, all right, you can have it, buddy. Get out of here. Make sure you stop by the ATM on your way home.
Other guys that come in, those valet drivers that come in late at night, and they got their tips, and they're wanting to just double up those tips. Hey, good for you.
10s for a 6-5 suited here. 6-5 suited is probably my favorite suited connector. Performs very well, especially in 3-bet pots. You don't have to really worry about it, reverse implied odds nearly as much as some of the other suited connectors whenever you make your hand.
A-Rock's been a little quiet for a while. Let's see if he gets involved here a little bit.
AJ picks up the gutter to go with his second pair, so a little bit of additional equity. Gonna start going for some thin value here. Maybe also set himself up for some river bluffs.
Probably the most red chips we've seen in the pot so far.
Yeah.
Check. 20 miles railroad track, pocket 10s.
10 is going to be good here.
Did you hear what he said about a railroad track?
Yeah.
What is that?
Railroad track, pocket 10s.
Okay.
They look like though.
See, I learned something new. Been playing for.
I've heard that before, but it's not a very common. He tips him $10 too. $10 for the 10s.
Nice. Yeah, again, in this game, those red chips are normally the tipping chips, right? In the 2-5 game, the white chips are the not really relevant unless you've got increments of 5.
Yep.
This game, those red chips are really the tip and chips, and those dealers really appreciate it. TCH has the best dealers in the state of Texas. I will put them against anybody, and they come from everywhere.
Yep.
Baltimore, Maryland, Vegas,
Vegas
Tulsa.
guys, yeah.
When you go and it's I mean, some of the folks, like I said, from Vegas this year that went to the WSOP and said how bad the dealing was. It was the same going to some of those local, close casinos in Oklahoma. They struggle to get dealers to deal with those TCH. I mean, not the TCH, the WPT events up there.
Yep.
We're just so spoiled down here.
The Win was hiring for their November events already because it's so difficult for them to find dealers. They're putting out ads 6 months in advance trying to get dealers to agree to come out. Right. And the Win's one of the better properties up there.
Yeah, Cashman, you're right about AJ. Man, I don't know how long he's been doing these streams. I think it's, last few months or so, but man, he's been fun to watch. He is not afraid to get those chips in there.
Yep. Second pair for Bridge Mike here and a gut shot for J-Rock.
About as good a shape as J-Rock is going to be against those queens.
Check.
King or Jack is the only thing that'll help him now. The 10's a pretty scary card here for Bridge Mike. If he wasn't beat by the ace, the 10 got there also.
It is, but man, I've seen Bridge Mike sniff out so many hands. Ooh, he folds.
Yep, J-Rock's just going to take it.
That's a good bet. Bridge Mike is definitely one of those savvy players. It's not that he's stubborn, like a lot of us older guys are stubborn. We don't like to fold, but he's definitely not one of those. He's not afraid to call you.
Pride is about the worst characteristic you can have in poker.
100%. That was my biggest flaw. That
your pride is worthless.
Pretty mediocre to at least profitable players being able to get rid of pride. I love getting bluffed now.
Yep.
Bluff me all day long. It's when I make a bad call that I get so mad at myself. When people show me bluffs, man, I think it's just awesome, especially big ones.
Yep.
Because the 1, 2, and 2, 5 games are so underbluffed compared to these big stakes.
100.
Queen 10 suited here. Early position. Gonna bump it up.
Have you ever played bridge, the game that Mike's known for?
I don't think so, actually. I remember on the submarine people played bridge and spades all the time in Cruise Mess, but I worked in the engine room, so if I had free time to be doing something like that, it was usually spent studying or training.
Look at this flop.
Danny's gonna flop a boat straight away.
J-Rock has trip sixes.
Oh my gosh.
So we're gonna see some money flying here.
There are some runouts J-Rock can get away maybe, but
and there's some runouts that are going to be devastating for Danny. Those baby boats get sunk. How many times have you flopped a boat with that baby pair and just prayed somebody had the trips and then they
running
run out?
aces or
running
something.
aces.
2 players. Jeremy, checks.
With the hearts coming in here and the overcard, I'd like to see a bigger sizing here. Yeah, he locks for about $700 or something. 900 bucks. Yeah, I like the large sizing.
Right. And sometimes even with that 6, you start to question, like, what does this guy have,
Yeah. He's hoping he's got an overpair here.
You've got a set. I mean, you've got trips, and this guy's betting into you.
You could definitely go for some raises here with the 6.
Right.
With the heart draw coming in, you're gonna get some action from some draws if you raise. A lot of those hands, the only way you get value from them on the river is if they decide to bluff, and a lot of people will shut down.
Yeah.
So it's good to incorporate some turn check raises here for value.
I mean, the overpairs are obviously going to bet into you, so.
Yeah, you're already getting value from overpairs either way.
Shouldn't be afraid of backdoor hearts here. He's going to check. He's not going to lead out.
Yeah, the only backdoor hearts that really comes in here for Danny is something like Ace Jack of Hearts or Ace 10 of Hearts. There's really not that many combos.
Some random 7-5 of hearts or something they called.
He's more afraid of pocket kings or pocket queens. pocket queens probably wouldn't have gone for such a large sizing on the turn.
He bets more than the pot, 3,200. That's a great bet.
Yeah, really like this bet.
He's got to know that J-Rock's got the 6 there in the big blind.
You won't be needing this anymore now.
This is about the best hand you'll ever have here. I mean, you're going to have some 5-6, 6-7, 8-6. You're never really going to have queen 6 or king 6. You can maybe have one combo of pocket 6s. So it's hard to have a better hand here, but when he's overbetting, you got to think, like, where is he finding his bluffs? Is he bluffing often enough? Am I actually going to be good, or is he value betting worse? Would he take this line with aces? He has aces with the ace of hearts. If you think your opponent can value bet aces here.
Did you hear him? He said, what you got, Danny? Runner or something?
Yep. If you think your opponent is capable of value betting pocket aces here, you just always have to call. If you're folding, it's going to be an exploit. You're saying you never have bluffs, and you've got a better 6 or a full house.
Right. Chris, I agree. Danny was aggressive this whole way.
When you have the force specifically, you can bet all 3 streets without any problem because it's just so much easier to get action from your opponent's range all the way.
And anybody with an overpair or any sort of draw is going to call you, and one draw gets their back door. An overpair, is putting you maybe on a 6 at best, but he knows he's getting paid by a 6 here. Right, he can't have the aces here, yeah.
Yep, I'm just going to get the value.
That's what I was like, no way. Yes. Good hand. Good hand.
Great hand, great hand.
Like, no way. Yes.
Classic Danny Marks, just knowing where he's
I forgot
at.
the pre-flop. I thought Danny was the aggressor.
Yeah.
Yeah, not going to have aces very often at all. Maybe 5% of the time or something. It'd be tough to find bluffs in that line, but it's also tough to have value that goes 3 streets.
Right. Like we said, with a guy like JD, he may be down 5.6K right now, and he may not get it back by the time the stream. But once the stream is over, he could go out there and win 20K. This is the kind of player he is. So,
yep.
These guys are not shy about getting their money in and keep playing once the stream is over. These are really good players.
You're right.
What?
Can't lose,
Seven River one time.
I can't lose with two.
Yeah.
two
Chris says that is why they pay him, Danny, the big bucks.
Yep.
Danny says, pay me. Pay that man.
Excellent value bet. That's where you make your money in poker, is finding those big value bets.
Oh, right.
Most of the reason you're bluffing is so you get paid on your value, not because you're
right.
generating so much EV by winning the pots with your fancy bluffs.
And how easy would it be to have put out $1,000 bet out there,
trying to get paid.
Trying to get paid. And you're getting paid, but he got paid for 3,200.
Yeah, he gets paid a whole extra 2K.
Right.
Got another hand here. Fiend's going to squeeze it up with King 10 suited yet again. Like the play, trying to get that dead money, get some initiative out of the hand. He's playing out of position here, so he's trying to go a bit bigger, get as much fold equity as he can, narrow the field.
Anybody else watching the stream from outside of Texas? We had a Massachusetts and a West Virginia earlier. We're kind of getting towards the end of the stream here. I want to see where everybody's watching from. Show us what city you're repping in the chat.
He's going to get the folds all the way around.
Right.
$460 instantly.
That's twice with King 10. He got jacks to fold earlier with King 10 suited.
Yep.
You proud of yourself?
You hear Danny with the needle. He said, "You proud of yourself?" I mean, that's the fun part about this game.
I wish I always got this much respect. Oh my goodness. Back in the good old days. Uh-oh.
One time.
A little steam coming out somewhere, huh? A little steam coming out of
He's straddling
C4.
100.
200?
No 200.
Yeah, I was so excited to hear that
St.
WPT when Danny shipped that WPT main event. I was like, oh my gosh, you could have gone to a better guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was so excited for him. Got a $100 straddle on this hand.
You just got so much of it back.
Chris, you're in Antigua? Man, that is awesome. San Diego.
I know.
Mr. Stephen Harris, glad you're watching Andre Deal. He's been a pleasure for the last year that I've gotten to know him.
Every time I've done
I've been to San Diego once, Steven. I left San Diego with a tattoo of California on my ribcage, which has now been covered up by a lion. But yeah, after staring at that in the mirror for about 6 months, I was like, why did I do this? I thought I was going to move out there. I loved it so much. But good story, at least. It's still underneath in the skin there, but San Diego is by far the best place in California. No doubt about it.
AJ doesn't come along with the King Jack suited.
Lazarus has not left Dublin, Georgia. He's still hanging out there. Man, you could have been at TCH Dallas by now if you just jumped in that helicopter, Lazarus.
15.
JD's going to raise it up, ace-queen suited, try and squeeze some of that money. Barr's in there with ace-5. Going to let it go.
Surprising. He likes to splash around with some hands like that.
See if Benham opts for the 4-bet or just the call here. He's going to be out of position, so it's going to be a little bit more incentivized to go with the 4-bet. And he knows that JD's capable. So they're deep enough that 4-bet's a little bit superior play, I think. It's like 45?
Yeah, Benham knows where he's at. He's just crushing this game.
4,200.
Is this where JD takes a stand, though?
You can definitely put in some bluffs, ace-queen suited, ace-king suited, but a lot of players nowadays don't play the 5-bet range so much, unless they're like Omega deep. They kind of play 4-bet range only and then play post. So I don't think I've seen JD enough to know how many 5-bets he's incorporating into his range, but ace-queen suited is a very reasonable hand he could entertain some ideas with, especially if he thinks Benham's getting out of line, 4-betting too much. He knows JD's squeezing, so he's re-squeezing, starts to play like a little bit of a leveling game.
Luke, we're always looking for dealers. Thanks for chiming in from Las Vegas. The Ari is a great room. We're kind of in the middle of this crazy hand, though. JD is not afraid to play for 17K, so...
he's going to have position on Benham post flop, so call's completely fine. It gets a little complicated to play 5-bet ranges in a balanced manner, so I like to just generally play most of my ranges 4-bet.
JD outflops him, so Benham finally doesn't get the best of a flop.
And Benham does have the backdoor diamonds here working for him. He's probably going to be c-betting almost his entire 4-bet range, something like a quarter pot. He's going to go even smaller.
Which to me seems kind of defensive, right?
Yep. He went for about a 1/5 sizing.
Does kings or aces ever bet that? Is my question.
He probably is. He's probably betting his full 4-betting range at that sizing. He recognizes that JD is going to have like ace-queen, ace-king, king-jack suited, maybe. Probably more like king-queen suited only. Probably goes ahead and folds the king-jack suited, although they are very deep.
Luke, I think they've got some contact information for our management team on the website if you'd like to reach out.
I think it's Leon at texascardhouse.com be who you reach out to.
Yeah, it should be just Leon, Leon at texascardhouse.com.
The 10 is actually a pretty interesting card. Brings in a backdoor flush draw, as well as some straight draws. And pocket 10s is a hand that's certainly in both players' ranges here.
And it's hard to just put your opponent on a hand. And, I mean, if you think he's got kings or aces.
I like the check from JD. He's going to allow Benham to value bet some hands like he has that he's ahead of. He's keeping the pot small when he is behind, and Benham's deciding to play a little bit tricky so that he can call some river bets and not have it be for his entire stack.
Right.
I do think JD doesn't go for a river bet.
$6,000 though. They played it kind of not passive, but just kind of careful after the flop. Both guys respect each other.
The ranges are so narrow, and he knows if he bets too small on the river, trying to get like razor thin value from a hand like jacks, that Benham's good enough that he may put in a check raise, and he's just in a nightmare situation.
Right.
Because Benham would show up there with the backdoor hearts sometimes that he just opts to play a little bit more carefully.
Yep. That's the perfect situation right there. It's where poker begins like chess or baseball when a runner gets on. You know, you and the pitcher kind of eyeing each other, trying to figure each other out, see where they're at, and that was a really good hand.
Yeah. The ranges get narrow real quick, and all the money is in there, and your heart's pumping, and you're trying to decide like what other hands do I have here? What hands do I value bet? What hands am I bluffing with? What do they have? And the stakes are as high as they get.
Right. Yeah, Chris, you're right. That could have gotten expensive for him. You know, does he really put him on the ace queen there? You know, easy to put him on tens or less, or an ace king that missed.
There's definitely a certain element of, even though a lot of poker is solved, they've got all kinds of simulations and stuff. There's still like an element of creativity that goes into how you're gonna find bluffs in certain spots when you're in the moment in the game. Which suits are you gonna bet what sizing with, or bet at all, or check, or go for a check raise. And sometimes you really, playing against certain opponents, making certain adjustments, you really find some creative spots that can be very, very interesting.
Well, JD's always one that likes to have the table covered. It's rare.
He's got the most options.
It's rare that he will not have the most chips at the table, whether he's winning or whether he's just bought in for that much. Maybe Dong might have him. When Dong used to buy in for those crazy amounts, but that was a situation where it really could have got expensive for Benham if he just didn't put JD on that hand. If he thought he was good, they were same size stacks.
Yep.
They could have played for stacks there, and Benham's sun run turned around real quick.
And like we said before, poker is a game of making good decisions, better decisions than your opponents. When you're playing deep stacked, you have the most complex decisions. You have the most options. The decision tree is going to become infinitely more complex at each stage. And each time you have an option to make a different decision is an opportunity to make your opponent make a mistake, and for you not to, which allows you to extract an edge.
And we just saw JD a second ago. He was down 5.6K. He was at the very bottom of our list. He's now in the green. He's up.
Not too shabby.
Middle Tennessee in the house. Nice. The Nut Buster. It's hard to bust the nuts, but like the name, buddy. Welcome from Middle Tennessee.
Back 10 suited for Benham.
Yeah. How is poker in the state of Tennessee, Nut Buster?
He was so mad at himself for even opening his mouth.
Yeah, that's the worst.
I think Tennessee is mostly underground. I think they have to go to neighboring states to play.
Kentucky and on the water casinos, maybe.
I think they got to go to Cherokee, North Carolina, or up into Indiana. I think Kentucky is like mostly racetracks and horse races as well. I don't think they have too much poker
They had riverboat casinos up there, or what they have. 6-7 high flop here. Danny's in the lead with pocket eights. We got a flush draw for AJ, and boom. First pitch.
Danny's still got some outs though, 8 or 7.
We need to do something before the deadline.
It's not the best flush draw in the world, and it is a paired board, so AJ can't get too out of line.
Danny's got a club as well, although it wouldn't be good.
He's gonna take his river card.
Board pairs again. Unfortunately for Danny, it's not the one he needed.
He pretty much has to call any reasonable size bet here with the club in his hand and the overpair. Probably just has to snap call.
I think you're dead right with that, Chris. Shows the flush.
Yeah, I don't think most players check the trap call with the aces or kings. I would have liked to have seen at least a small bet.
Yeah,
I can get behind 60% for sure.
I remember Daniel Negreanu talking about when you've got aces heads up, to never be afraid to let a player try to catch up, because the odds that he catches up against you when you've got aces are so rare.
Yeah.
Obviously, depending on what comes out on the flop and what kind of draws there are, but when you've got the big aces or the kings in a hand, you've got the overpair, you can let your opponent hang themselves,
Yeah.
literally.
JD just figured in that hand he probably wasn't getting called very often by worse, and so he figured he just wasn't going to risk putting himself in a tough spot.
On the stream, yeah, after the stream, yeah.
Absolutely, Doug. I watched Chris in here. Did a great job.
You got puff a bunch right before it, so you're good to go.
15 then.
Yeah. They won't blind you to 50 though.
The issue is Chris can't play in the game if he's commentating.
This is true.
Those cigarettes worth $40 so far.
Gonna miss out on all that EV.
Safine is going to try to raise again with his suited king. He's done that a couple times with king 10.
Yeah, I got bad news for you, buddy.
What's that?
You're gonna know a lot. Syntax?
150.
That's true.
All very playable hands. Let's see what happens post flop here.
About taking a break from no. Safine's farted on my pillow.
Top pair for Safine, but AJ's just gonna flop the Nutter Butters here pretty much.
Captain Flush over there is what we're going to call AJ. Should we call him the toilet?
Yeah.
AJ, your new nickname is the toilet because you are flushing.
Devil's lettuce.
Yeah.
I like it.
Just the flat. Lay the trap here. It's always tempting when you flop the flush to try and get as much money in as possible because that fourth diamond is so scary. But sometimes you make more money by letting your
Oh, I
opponents.
thought Safine was going to do something nefarious there.
Stay still for a
I
reason.
thought maybe he'd be up to something.
Well, maybe now.
Right.
Safine probably still value bets two pair here.
That's right, Moneymaker had a poker room. That's right. Kentucky.
Yeah, I used to do some work in construction up in that tri-state area between Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. And I remember there wasn't much actually in Kentucky. It was mostly Indiana, or you had to drive into Cincinnati or Columbus to play at some of those places. I think there was a place called like the Belterra or something that was just awful. Like it was like the worst room ever. There was people like smoking in the poker room basically. It was just in a corner next to some slots.
Thank God those days are over. Right?
I was like, oh my gosh.
I reminded him
Yeah, the smoking in the poker room, that was just awful back in the day. I mean, you might as well have been the Marlboro man, just
Yeah, I hate
sucking
so
down
much.
cigarettes.
People are like, oh, well, we want to allow our customers to enjoy themselves. It's like, enjoy themselves at the risk of my health? Like, I don't think so. It shouldn't be allowed.
Nice hand again there for AJ with his second flush in a row. Mr. Toilet, I'm
These guys are going.
probably going to have to apologize for calling him that off stream, but this Kentucky poker room you're talking about, one of the gals that's a vlogger and her home room is TCH Dallas. Poker Face Ash.
Poker Face Ash, yep.
She's a great player. She just got 16th in a tournament in Vegas. Got 52,000, I think, for her efforts there. But she did a stream, I think, from that room in Kentucky that you're talking about. Nuts Buster.
Jamar or Jamal Burton, I think, is like Missouri area. So
Yeah,
probably goes up that way as
looked
well.
like a nice room. I hope that's not the one that got shut down though. But yeah, Texas is just like Kentucky in that we've got all kinds of funny laws. We've been blessed to have folks finally come along and realize that poker's going to be here regardless. And why not have it legal
Why
and
not
safe?
have it? Yeah. You want these businesses around
for sure
in every state. Georgia was having some issues with it too, I recall. I worked on a Google data center project out there at some point, and I remember I had to drive all the way to North Carolina to play. I was like, there's seriously not a poker option in Atlanta? Like, how dumb can you possibly be? Like, how much revenue are you missing out on? Like, it's so silly. Just the amount of people who make it into power are just so short-sighted.
I think Atlanta's one of the cities in America that's got a really high population of millionaires too.
Yeah, it's absurd. They even have a lot of film and stuff out there.
Yeah.
It's like a
Music,
like a southern,
film.
yeah, like sort of like a southern LA or something.
Right.
My cousin went out there to do some film projects and stuff as a video editor and
I can only imagine if
camera
I
guy.
had your hands today.
My hand?
Yeah.
Queen 10 suited. Wow, Pocket Force doesn't even try and set mine here.
Yeah, you gotta have to remind me to tell Andre that his friend Steve was watching him from San Diego.
Yep.
No.
Now look at this. We've got a lot of players in the green now. So sometimes you can have one winner at a table, two winners. This is pretty rare.
If it was suited, I would afford it.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have one really big loser and the rest just sort of distributes around a little bit.
Look at that.
That's how they play in Vegas. 7 pros and 1 whale, and 1 recreational.
Pre-flop razor there, Safine.
Yeah, 30% PFR is pretty hefty there. Usually you're going to see like the high teens, low 20s.
50 straddle.
more standard, like overall VPIP is like high 20s.
Right.
Once you get in the 30s, they're playing pretty loose.
There you go. I like seeing that suited ace 10.
Yep.
Coming over the
Beautiful
top.
hand.
Yep.
40% of a royal. I mean, Danny also ace jack of clubs. Got to decide if he wants to 4-bet or fold here. Generally,
JD with obviously the discipline.
Yeah, opts for the fold.
Right.
Gets relatively early position open and middle position 3-bet.
Yeah. Anybody in the chat, if you see the Streamlabs just put up a link. If you want to play on TCH Live, there's a link right now in the chat to sign up. Or I'm going to put up graphics now. You can contact Miss Mallory here. Our beautiful Mallory plays and deals here. You can contact her. There's her phone number, TCH Live DTX at texascardhouse.com. Or you can scan that QR code there if you want to play on this live stream. A lot of good streams, different games, so check it out.
We'll at least swap 1%.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many of us there. It's like you want to have at least some small. Well, you know. I cap myself, so I never buy, I never sell.
Got about 20 minutes left of the stream or so.
Here's a situation, obviously, in the cash rooms, people normally chop, you know, when it's down to the small blind and big blind. These guys know they're playing for entertainment here on the stream, so they're going to go ahead and play this hand out.
As you go open stakes, they do tend to chop a little bit less often, especially in these time games like we run here. It's not like we're taking rake out of the pot. You're paying for time, so you might as well play the hand.
Another 2 pair for Benham there.
Yeah. I've always liked playing my blinds. I do chop in the low stakes because people get so offended. Like, you want to play me? Take my money? Right. What? And they get like so mad, but it's like, I'm here to play a game, you know?
I played with a guy where it said if anybody ever refuses to chop with him at a casino, he said he'll raise them all in. He doesn't care. And I played with him. I saw a player refuse to chop with him. He went all in. The kid had like kings or queens. He had 9-4 suited. Ran a flush on him and said, hey, I told you to chop, you know? So it is what it is.
You're going to lose a lot of money overall, though.
He won't take any more WNBA bets, right?
So we have TCH Dallas here on Harry Hines Boulevard. I think it intersects with 635. And then we have another card room on the west side of town near Irving. Las Colinas is the area it's called. I forget the exact road it's on, but they're within about 15 minutes of each other.
Yeah, Nutsbuster, if you download the Poker Atlas app, once you're in Texas and you open that up, it'll give you the local clubs.
Yep.
TCH pretty much is the local club in the DFW area. There's 2 of them, so nobody else competes. The biggest clubs by far. They're what, 7 miles apart from each other. So there's 2 TCH locations. You can choose either one. The Las Colinas one is more of a social club. They do have a bar and food, some darts and stuff. Both of them have games running around the clock, 24/7. You can come at 6 in the morning. There's going to be some sort of game going any day during the week. So love to have you. Come check us out.
Yep. And if you're ever down in Houston, we have 2 rooms down there as well. Have one on Westheimer Road. It's like the southwest side of Houston, I want to say. And then another one in Spring, which is more on the north side of town. And we also have one down on the border in Rio Grande Valley area. And then another one in Austin.
Yeah. 5 clubs total now, right?
I think so, yeah. I believe they're looking to add even more. I'm not sure exactly where yet. I'm sure they'll announce it for us when they're ready. If I had to guess, maybe like northeast to Arkansas, and then maybe a West Texas, maybe a San Antonio, like
maybe.
that. But we'll see what they decide to do.
That's a nice hotel, the Statler. So this location's probably 10 minutes from there, 15 minutes. Obviously, traffic can change that real quick, but you know, we're probably 10 minutes from downtown.
Big hand here for AJ, flopping top pair and nut flush draw.
Both guys have Broadway draws.
Yep. Benham and JD, both cutters. Benham's got the King of Hearts working for him as well. So he's definitely going to be looking to see some turns.
We're almost 100 hands in, and there's been some good action. I hope you guys have enjoyed this tonight. I know Zach and I have enjoyed commentating tonight. We've enjoyed watching.
Yep. Gonna bump it up to 1,600 bucks. That's probably enough to get him to let it go.
That's a beat, right?
Yeah.
He's like, and I have the King of Hearts. He's like, no good.
Actually, I don't mind a raise, but I think in general, with the Nick game especially, you don't mind taking it down. But in general, I like to just call because I've got so much of the board covered. It's just so hard for my opponents to continue.
Did you see AJ show the 7 of hearts? That's all he showed.
Yeah,
the 7 of hearts. But he's the flush man, so of course he was going to hit.
That's the kind of hand I like to just play some turns and rivers with when I'm super deep.
I'll call the 600.
If I'm short, yeah, I'll just go ahead and pile the money in. But
Hit my 3-outer.
I think they were all like 15K effective there.
Right.
And I think $50 straddle was on, so about 300 big blinds.
Jafar coming back in. He's really not played a bunch of hands, but we'll see if he can get in on the action.
Drill it on you.
I had 3 outs against that hand.
Sometimes you got 3 street hands, sometimes you got 2 streets.
Do you have any hearts?
Sort of depends. Jafar with Queen Jack suited is gonna call it.
No hearts.
If my
no
queen
hearts.
was hard too, yeah.
I'm just gonna raise it up.
Get out of there. Protection.
200.
225.
Excellent diet.
You don't want us to hit those straights though, you know? Queen or jack on the turn.
Suited Broadway hands. This could be fun.
J-Rock's just gonna flat.
And Bridge Mike decides to just call with the big ace king.
Jafar typically just limps just about everything, so when he raises, he's just playing a little bit cautious. He doesn't want to scare him out of the pot. Just wants to play. He is in the small blind though, so I would like to have seen a raise, disincentivize everyone from participating and win without having to play out of position.
And with that many people in the hand with him, you think Jafar's probably going to put out a pretty sizable bet here?
Yeah. Jack 6-4 or Jack 9-6.
Let's see the flop again visually because at first it said Queen.
Yeah,
Jack.
the graphics here is having a little trouble catching up.
These are RFID cards, so sometimes they spaz out a little bit, but the technologies are really cool.
Yeah, the burn cards and the muck cards, if they go over the board.
It was Jack 9. So now King Jack is taking the lead from Jafar. Already had the lead, but he's got 2 pair now, so he's got it pretty locked. Unless the 10 spikes.
That's 1,000, calls 1,000.
And what spikes? The 10.
Yep.
2 10s left
for a
in the
lead
deck.
here. I think he's going to lead for probably 2,000 or 3,000.
That's just my rule.
And you just need the queen, so
This is going to be literally the only tournament I'll buy action to. Like,
J-Rock's not loving it.
Let me know, because it's hard.
1475.
I'm basically trying to get an extra 10.
I feel like this is going to be a laydown for J-Rock. I think he's going to get away from it.
It should be last year.
Yeah, he's not feeling this.
It's sort of player dependent what you have to do here.
Even like
He knows how bad that river was for him.
I think he's leaning towards a fold against Jafar, but if he was against JD, he'd probably just call it off. JD or Benham.
For the first time I ever played, I got charged 1-3.
Yeah, definitely some folding body language here.
It's painful. He knows he was good on the turn, but he's going to let it go. He's asking him, do you want me to call?
When people ask me that, I go, do you want to call? Do you want me to fold? I always just tell them, I want you to make a decision. Let's go. Like, stop wasting everybody's time. We're paying for time here, buddy.
I always feel like I'm going to say the wrong thing, so I just shrug my shoulders.
I either say nothing or I'm just like, come on, either way, let's go.
I don't even bother with the reverse psychology. That's not my game, so I'm going to leave that for Jamie Gold.
Yeah.
He said you're talking too much. This is the fun part of the game, though, it's just...
And if I'm one of the other players at the table, I call clock after a minute. I was like, seriously? I'm like, yeah, let's get this. Let's go. Come on.
There it is. He
Oh,
puts in the call. Jafar's going to show him the bad news.
Yeah.
Takes down a $5,100 pot.
Not a bad day.
Especially since Jafar's only a few hands in.
Yeah. Not even playing an hour, I don't think.
He won 3.6K on that pot.
I agree with you. I agree.
Dirty turn code.
Especially after
Dirty,
the speech.
dirty,
Fuck, I'm snap folding now.
Turn was great. Flip time, gentlemen. 200? Sure.
Looks like we're doing a flip. Be our last hand of the stream here.
Hand 100. 2 hands.
Oh,
They're going to do a $200 PLO bomb pot here. One winner, unless there's a strange chop, but usually these end in just one winner, so somebody's going to win a good chunk of change here on the last hand. I hope you guys have enjoyed the stream, though.
Appreciate y'all watching with us.
I've heard from a few folks that said they're going to come visit in Dallas. If you have any inclination to come play really good poker in the state of Texas, TCH Dallas is where it's at. We've got 2 locations here in Las Colinas or Irving, Texas, and here in Dallas off of Harry Hines Boulevard. Great games, great dealers, food, drinks. Come out, have a good time with us.
If you haven't already, make sure you throw a like on our video or subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. It helps us out a bunch, and we appreciate y'all. And again, if you'd like to play on the stream, you can check out the barcode here to play on the stream. Contact Miss Mallory, or you can join us this weekend for our Independence Day stream.
Gonna get back to this hand real quick just so y'all can see the winner here. J-Rock's got a set of kings on the flop
with a straight on the turn. If you,
he's got the nuts straight.
If you need any extra outs, no longer the nuts straight on the river, but
still has the straight.
Probably good.
Nobody has the 10-8, so it looks like he's going to be good there and win a $1,800 pot here.
Nice way to wrap up the night. Well, we're gonna close down the stream, guys. Appreciate you all.